Is my microphone hot? No, it's okay. Trying to eat these vitamin C's. Ugh. Sour. Oh my god. Ugh. Golly. I'm drinking coffee. Vitamin C is stuck in my throat. No, that's not a person. Vitamin C and just black coffee. I'm not sure that's great. Okay. And what's the button? This one. Oh, shit. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? How was your day? Oh my golly, man. I really want to talk. I really want to express something, but I'm very worried I'm going to fuck up expectations to where it actually isn't as good as I'll make it sound. Okay, it's like, what is the thing? Under promise and over deliver, essentially. But I feel really good about a video I just worked on, and I hope you guys like it whenever you guys see it. Also, people in past broadcasts, hopefully you're having a good day. Hopefully you're taking care of yourself. And also, I hope that this video that's been taking a long time to get going, eventually, also, fuck me, do you see the delta detail of the knee bone muscle? Fucking what? Also, ugh. Yeah, anyways. But I'm desperately hoping that when this video gets out, this build I'm currently working on, when it's done, I'm like able to just work on anything. Because that was the thing that was taking the build such a long time, is that it was like constantly this yo-yoing back and forth of like, this kind of works. Okay. And I was always limiting myself to Reaper of Bones. Dude, I'm so happy I did though. The video came out. I'm so on over fucking. Oh, it's so fucking cool the way it came out. Oh man, I just edited the whole morning. It felt like 10 minutes. Just because it was that satisfying about like pop, 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 pop. Whew. As far as everything else, ladies and gentlemen, I have nothing prepared to you. You know how last week I was like, hey guys, you know what your boy's gonna do? He's gonna set aside some time throughout his whole days, and like add like, hey, talk about this with your people because it's interesting. I'm curious what they think about it. Didn't do any of that. Got real busy. Also was sick. So maybe hopefully next week we can make that happen. But right now, flying blind, baby, as we typically do. And yes, also we're streaming a shocking 2 minutes earlier, so forgive me for that. But yes. Also, what do you call it? There's I think the one thing that's fucking me up a little bit is to me, it's weird when you get like these perspectives of like creativity, I guess, or something like that. I know some people aren't interested in this stuff, so forgive me. But then like the thing right now, just to speak candidly, I am very like interested and creatively pushed. What's good, Buns? What's good, Buns? Buns pops in with an emote. Hopefully Buns is having a lovely day. How are you, Buns? Been a hot minute. Are you still getting after streaming? I've been in my own bullshit, in my own bullshit world. So unfortunately, I'm a living nightmare. But hopefully yours has been going great. Buns says hello. What's good, Buns? Yes. What I was about to say, I was saying some bullshit, and then I got an interesting person that popped in, and I'm like, all right, fuck what I was just talking about. No, but to wrap up that, just for anyone who's watching in past broadcasts, it's good to see. Thank you so much, bud. Good to see you too. Same. Also in my own world, BS world. Lol is no problem. Please continue. Okay, what do you call it? I was gonna say that, like, for me right now, there's like a building. Like, I know, like, it's pretty, like, the stoinks are fucking high when it comes to Wonderland, and they're gonna probably diminish and cap off at some point, you know. But A part of me is like right now, as much as like it's so fucking annoying, because like if you're like, hey, this is probably the best horse to bet on, is just like focus your attention on that, fully send it. But I'm also like really into like making and also it's like lighting a fire under my ass almost in a way, because I had a lot of like strange little like little tiny bursts of success on YouTube, to where like I got to like, it took a while for me to get my first 100 views, and it took a while for me to get my just the ball rolling kind of thing. And then eventually I got like, I played Don't Starve, I played Battleborn, and those things were like my little beginner bop, bop, bop. So it started to be good. But of course, because I spread myself too thin, it got messy. But now that we have these new channels, I'm sitting there seeing them like not pull in anything. And I'm kind of like, okay, let's start thinking. Like there's a part of me that's getting like competitive and creative about it. But also it's frustrating because I know the one that's shown that it has the most to yield is Wonderland content, which I'm still making and I'm enjoying. But I find myself really wanting to make like share your grin content and like find a way to make that work. Because that's like a really interesting problem to solve. Is how do you make content in which you can provide value that is kind of in the same umbrella of content, so that people who would subscribe to your channel wouldn't be upset by having like these random other videos in the space. And also, how do you simultaneously build something that can pull somebody new in, while simultaneously making sure your current audience is contained and happy and content with something that's like enjoyable at a base. That makes any sense. Which is a really interesting problem to have, or like a problem to solve, and it makes me like hyped. Bun says, I'm about to leave in 30 minutes and grab something to drink with drinks with friends, but I wanted to say hi. Thank you so much, Buns, for just making a couple minutes of some time. I appreciate that so much. You're nothing but lovely. But Buns, when you say drinks, you gonna get a little drunk, a little alcoholic, get a little crunk? Oh man, I don't know. Or is it just like now we're gonna go get some tea, or is it like no, we're just gonna go get some like social drinking, etc. No judgment here, by the way. Cocktails, yeah. Fuck me. That's awesome to hear, Buns. Good luck. Have a lovely fun time whenever that time comes. But I appreciate your company until then. What's good, Lone Syndicate? Lone Syndicate says, what's up, Grin? What's good, Lone Syndicate? How are you doing? Lone Syndicate says, how are you doing, Grin? God damn you. Asking me first. Lone Syndicate says, I saw the video from yesterday, Grin, and I loved it very much, my friend. Which one? The Dress of Darling one. Yeah, man. That's not the videos I'm meaning, by the way. Like I think I won't start on my Dress Up Darling. I think I'll start on a new Share Your Grin video. So I think I want to do Don't Toy With Me Nagato, or Naga something, whatever it's called. That anime. I want to do a part of that like an after upload where it describes who would be the person that would enjoy this kind of show, with the specific context of that video and series largely being that trying to answer that question honestly, not like judge the content and be like this is for stupid people or something. No, just to literally be like, if you like these kinds of things, you'll probably like the show. These are the things that I think it does really well, and these are the things that may throw people off, that kind of thing. And it'd be like 5 minutes, super short, because that's the plan moving forward. We're gonna have, because I don't really like I'm not sure how you feel about it, Lone Syndicate, just as like a content consumer. I'm not a big fan of how that ended up feeling overall, where it's basically like it felt like the So I Watch series turned into like 5 things at once, when it was me being like, okay, here's this, okay, now quickly talk about this so you don't lose people, and now quickly talk about this. So this way we can just subvert all of the like, will there be a season 2, what's the show about, into a quick like 10 to 5 minute video that just expresses what the show is about. And then we can have our just like ReZero kind of same idea, where I just ranted about the coolness of the show and kind of like a podcast / like breakdown, or larger than life breakdown. But yeah. Also, Bun says, thank you. I'm chilling here until my friend show. Hell yes. What do you call it? Is that it? Is that like, so is it just like, we're gonna go get the cocktails and have fun? Because to me, I guess that could be a badass time. I always just wonder, like, for my dumb brain, I need to have like something next lined up. Like, it's like, okay, we're gonna go get drinks, then we're gonna go to this movie premiere or something. So that way, at least in your brain, you're like, all right, there's something else that we're heading towards. Where if it's just like sit down and like vibe for a minute, I'm like, I'm gonna panic. I have nothing to like relax me. I have no next step to aim for, or at least be like, okay, we gotta pace ourselves a little bit, you know. I think I'm hard to enjoy at the moment. Is what my problem is. But also Lone Syndicate. I wanted to say, I don't want to let. Okay, first of all, Lone Syndicate. How do you feel about Borderlands 2 character Krieg? What are your thoughts about him? Positive, negative, middle of the road? I'm curious about this because I'm waiting for an answer. I'm sure you're already like writing the previous question I asked. Sorry, like just constantly throwing things at you. But I just spent. Okay, I don't think it's Buns and Lone Syndicate in here right now, so I'm just gonna fuck up one of y'all's experience because I don't think Buns is playing Wonderland particularly. So, what do you call it? I think I just made one of the best videos I've ever made. Period. Today, or at least half of it, because I haven't made the other half yet. It's a build video on Tiny Tina's Wonderland, but dude, there's a moment where I hadn't done it in so long. I hadn't just sit back and had fun with editing. Because a lot of the content that we always made on the channel was like, how do I make it make sense? It's like content that you film with the intent of structure. That makes sense? So in Let's Play, for instance, it's like, okay, well, we're going to just play the game, have fun, but we're going to try to make it so that people can hear the story. We're going to try to make some jokes. And then in editing, it's more like polishing and like maybe like adding a little bit, but more or less it's already structurally built out as you make the first video. The content is basically just running and live. And then you're adjusting, taking a dead air, and that's kind of the whole thing. But that takes a long time, especially if you're doing Let's Plays, which you play for like 3 hours a piece, and condense it down into like an hour. It's fucking mental. So you have to bare minimum edit it for like 3 hours. It's horrible. But also, it made for really good long form content. But to me, what do you call right now? I never really got the opportunity. I guess I never gave myself the opportunity, I should say, of just like sitting back and having fun with an idea, like there being like no strings attached. And I've always said this in my head. I've always said I feel like I'm a better editor than I am a content creator. Like I'm a better person who can like make something. Like if I didn't have to edit myself, I think I would make some crazy jokes, some crazy everything. But because it's like it's me as well as it's me, you know, I'm tired of my own bullshit all the time. But nevertheless, you still have to edit that stuff down, and it's interesting having not having the like that overarching feeling of of there being like built-in structure. So as you're like kind of building this thing, it's slowly starting to form, and you're like, oh, okay. Like in the build video, the build video right now, I have the half of it made. So if you guys do want to check out what I'm meaning, please do not subscribe to the Brothers GRINN channel if you're not into the type of like looter shooter or first person shooter games. Please, it's not. Yeah, thank you, but it's okay. But I do think it's worth checking out the beginning part of that video just because the rev up, the chaos, I gotta stop, but yeah, just because no one's here right now, I want to talk about that because it's fucking so good. It's such a cool thing. Anyway, Lone Syndicate says, I honestly enjoy that kind of video. It answers all the questions about the anime in one place. One video, it's a format quite well, answering different topics. One may have only thing I would recommend is adding this timestamps to the video so people know the topic at hand, if that makes sense. Now that makes a lot of sense. I just wonder if, like, to me, Lone Syndicate, I don't mean this, I mean this with like the most love in my entire heart. I think you are, I don't think you're normal. I don't think you're normal. I think we all know that. I think we're all not normal, frankly. But what I genuinely mean is I think you are like me, where I actually, like, I grew up with content like Achievement Hunter and like Let's Play and like Funhouse and like Let's Plays, like DSP way back in the day. And then we found other like Topaz, whatever, like these long form gaming videos. So my actually attention is that, like, and again, anime is a great example. Most people binge anime, etc. So some people have an attention span that's kind of wider, or at the very least they can kind of like relax and then go forward. Shut up. Don't say DS. Listen, everyone started there. He's kind of the guy who kind of kicked it going. I don't know what happened, but it kind of didn't happen at the end of it, not very well. Anyways, his Bioshock playthrough was very entertaining. Anyways, but nevertheless, it still had that. It still has that thing where I think like you and myself, I really crave long form content. Like I'm not like if there was a. It's funny because like even the way I consume memes and like goofy fun Reddit things is very much through like long form. I just find people that look at memes and aggregate the best ones that I find I have a similar humor to, and then I watch those videos of those people reacting to those things and like editing out the junk, and it's like a 20-minute video of them just hanging out reacting to bullshit. And that's how I kind of consume things. I'm not like on Reddit one by one reacting to one thing and getting like dopamine releases, which I think is what it's made to do. Granted, I still haven't made a TikTok or even I'm on TikTok. So people say like that algorithm is like it finds your soul and just twists the knob. Although I'm worried about what, I'm worried about what it'll start to show me based on my with that. And get corrupted or whatnot. But yes, to me, I think we're in a different kind of camp. I think a lot of people are with different things. But I just notice like for me across the board, I find that to be the kind of way. I prefer long form content, I guess. But I also think that there's a lot of people who. I think that there's a lot of people who wouldn't mind. Like I think it's weird. I think we live in a day and age where I think you need to make short form content that leads to long form content, because it's almost like people want to validate their investment because there's so much content right now that you need to like get in quick, show your value, show what whatever you're offering, whether it's humor, whether it's like helpfulness, whether it's a community, whatever it could be. Get in quick, show what you're offering, and then like say, if you want more, you can go over here. But yeah, I don't know. Lone Syndicate says, as far as Krieg, he is totally like my second favorite character of the Borderlands 2 cast of playable characters. First being Gage, he was cool, interesting character that stood out the most. Skill worked interesting. They felt great. Lone Syndicate, I can't wait for you to see the video. I'm gonna try. Man, okay, so here's the thing. Normally, I'm really efficient. Today, I was not. I got caught up editing that video, and I got lost in the sauce. And I was like, holy shit, okay. And then it was 4:30, and I was like, oh my god, I don't have today's thumbnail edited, which I usually like to do before we start streaming. Oh my god, I just kicked my neck so bad. Oh, I haven't worked out this whole week because I was sick. So my body is just like, we're sedentary and we're hurting. It hurts so much. I feel like a vein in the back of my neck here just scream at me. Oh, you know when you fuck up and your body like it's like pain releases like a heat wave in yourself and you're like, oh fuck, I'm panicking. Anyways, also I cleaned my set, so it's not like I'm not like dying sinus wise. I'm sick, but that's another thing. What was I saying? Some sort of thing about. I finished. I'm not finished. My goal is. I think I'm gonna try to edit a video, which I'm kind of worried about uploading. Actually, it's a video that talks. Well, first of all, it was a video that I recorded before we made the realization that was like playing on intense in Wonderlands is horrifyingly bad. Like it's super shitty. To where it makes everything super scaled weirdly. So my perspectives of like Melee were hugely in like fucked up by that thing. So I made a whole of 2 videos basically about what the best Melee weapon is, as well as why my Krieg build's taking so long. So I feel like I'm gonna upload the why is the Krieg build taking so long video, just to describe some things, and then I'm really hoping it works out, because I'm worried about I really hope the video that I value a great deal, which is this one I'm currently making, I hope that does well. Like I hope it has momentum so that people can see it. But I'm worried about uploading a video today, especially with how spacey we upload videos. Maybe the YouTube algorithm sees some weirdness and they see that we've uploaded 2 videos in the same day and they're like, oh, this is weird. You usually upload 2 videos a week or something, just because of the weirdness with gaming versus, share your grins or whatnot. But hopefully that's not the case. Also, I fucked up my neck. I'm trying to walk it off. It's really fucking me up. What about you, Nub, though? How has your day been, Nub? Popping in from the background with a little chuckle. How has your day been, Nub? What game has your attention at this given moment? Even if it's some sort of anime thing I would not understand, let me know about it. Lone Syndicate says, and Grin, I've already accepted that I'm not normal, and I know you don't mean any harm by your statement. If you would like, I can provide advice/feedback the best way I can, and try to help, and even just talk out loud about ideas. No, that's a great help, Lone Syndicate. That's always massively appreciated. Yeah, like not only just, again, like that's the one thing I'm terrified of, because I talk to you guys about this and it's rough, but like I've been online since I was 9 years old. I was watching, like at age 10 I was watching the SP videos of this man scream at video games, and I used to always go to the comments, and I talked to you guys about this beforehand, where whenever I look at a meme or something, or on like any sort of app, I always go to comments. I've always read and cared what people were like communicating and what their perspectives were and things like that. And I've like, as I did that always. So now I have like a permanent voice in the back of my head that kind of is almost like a voice of a third party that kind of can have 1,000 different faces, whether it's like this community, that community, whatever. And it's hard for me to turn it off. So when I hear someone like say something, it's not that I part of me hears what that community would react in that way too, but it's not necessarily the way I react. And I get in trouble for this a lot, where I'll bring up an alternative perspective that's not my own, but it's just another way of thinking about it, or a limitation based on, you know, a debate that I've heard before, and yeah, people get like, oh fuck, I'm making people feel like I'm judging them, and it's not the way it is. It's me feeling like there's a perspective that can contradict. There's a perspective that may contradict that perspective a little bit, and not that yours perspective is wrong, but just that this is an interesting back and forth that I want to have. And sometimes I feel like it can come across as me like being judgmental, or me devaluing something or something like that, which I hope it doesn't. But alas, once again, that's like the best thing that anybody I think could do. There's like 3 things that if you tell your friend about content that you enjoy, that's huge. Like, as much as people say like the video, that's nice for engagement, but it's far better for you to be like, hey, have you checked out this guy? And that's like insanely good. Like, word of mouth is like a bulldozing thing. But anyways, but the other thing is that like there's so many times where you'll just run dry. Like, I'm talking dry when it comes to ideas. So the fact that you're willing to just throw ideas out in the air is perfectly wonderful. Thank you so much, Fluff. Holy fuck. Thank you so much for the Prime subscription. Also, you've been subscribed for 31 months in total, but currently on a 15-month streak. Thank you so much, Fluff. That's incredible. Yeah, as far as you were saying, I can provide feedback and advice. Yeah, no, I value your feedback and advice immensely. I value everyone's feedback and advice immensely. I just hope it's an interesting thing, because it like simultaneously you do need to listen to what other people say, even criticisms or feedback, or even just like relentless hatred, because even hatred could have like a perspective that somebody has, albeit to a lesser extent. Which if it is in your power to course correct and change, then the end result would be you having a better product or more value, so it's worth that. Granted, it's kind of an ass beating, and some people are really good about taking the ass beating, and other people are kind of like, man, I can only exist 2 minutes in a comment section before they start lighting me up, and I get like 5 hatred comments in, and I'm like, okay, how do I infer anything from this? like I've read "kill myself" 3 times. what are we doing? What can how can I improve the video? Granted, on the topic of the Wonderland videos, which have done well recently and have had a bunch of comments, people pop in. People were commenting that, hey, you're speaking too fast, and other people were like, you're fucking an ADHD loser kid, and of course they're ruder about it, but it's still the same problem. So you deaden your emotions and you try to be like, okay, well, is there a way in which I could speak slower and make things more clear? Yeah, there is. Okay, let's do that. And it's hard because you don't want to like concede ground to shitty people, nor create something that you would be unhappy with. Like if people could be like, I want it this way, and it's like, well, I don't want it that way, and I don't think the majority of people want it that way. And even if people did, maybe this is just my creation or my hobby that I don't need to make it at the behest of you. And maybe you want the content to do well, so you need to be aware. So it's kind of like a weird pendulum swinging constantly back and forth, which I think is interesting. But yeah. But right off the hop, Lone Syndicate, what are ideas you have? Particularly about, well, let's do 2 channels. What are the ideas you have for Share Your Grin? Just throwing around ideas in your head. Share Your Grin. And then, what is it called? Brothers Grin. Jesus. Nub says, well, my PC got fucked and was forced to have my motherboard repaired. It cost the OS repaired. It repaired it because the OS was corrupted. Yikes. Yeah, man, that's one of the things that to me is such a trap within PCs a little bit. And I had it happen with ours where I'm in a bad position where like the moment when my PC broke a couple months back and I had to get a new one, it was, well, first of all, my PC lasted like forever. It lasted way longer than I think it should have. I think it was like 7 years old, and I ran it all the time. And I was editing on it, like maxing out my CPU or whatever for a long, well, maybe not maxing, but it was like thoroughly used, you know? But what do you call it? To me, that's a trap of PC stuff, is what happens when one, like what happens how do you know it was your motherboard? And it's like, PC stuff is so fucking complicated that it's like, is it like, they're like, this could either be 18 things. And you're like, okay, is there any way to cut some of those down? And you're like, yes, it will take 15 hours for you to test all this. Great. and it still could yield yeah, okay. And also, I'm like, you know, it's kind of like, do I send this away to get fixed? It's gonna cost $500, or do I just say fuck it and like I've been saving some money? I'll just buy a new PC and be fucking fine, be free for another 5 years out of this hell. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. How's your day been though, Fluff? Stop popping in and throwing people. Pick me up, throw me against the wall, bash my skull against the wooden pallet, I guess. And then he's like, here's a prime. Throws it at me like I'm some sort of cheap whore. No, I appreciate it immensely. Nub says, well, I'm assuming that the reason for it was because one of my drivers died, and I never cleaned up the software to fix disk error, which caused it. Oh, no. I said motherboard fixed the OS. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh. So it wasn't like you didn't have to, I thought you had to send it somewhere and fix it. Point still stands that, like, I don't know, man, I never felt more like horrible when my PC was dead in the water. Not because I'm like, I need the internet, because I had an iPad or laptop, I could have got to the internet. It's just I didn't have, I'm like, yeah, if I don't have something to do, I get fucking like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know, manic maybe, I don't know whatever the word is. This is a lot. Ooh, that's dragon fruit. Ooh. Fluff says, I'm doing all right. 3 days in a row without kidney pains. So I can hopefully assume it's being passed by. I hope so, man. That'll be real. Yeah, most high probability that it would be. But in the back of my head, I'd be like, you know what? Maybe it hasn't passed yet, because I would just hate to be like, I'm living my best life, and like 3 days after this, you're like, you go pee, and you're like, oh no. Oh no, dude. Oh, fucking shit. Oh man, I don't know. That's, again, I've heard everybody say like kidney pain, like passing a kidney stone. Granted, I think that's like a dynamite market of like the pain is so visceral that you'll drop $100 or something on some sort of like serum that it's like acid in your kidneys that just breaks up everything and just flushes you entirely, you know. So that could work. Anub says, whenever my computer dies, I tend to know the reason for it, because each component has its telltale signs. Yeah, I feel like this is like if you were to slow down, do your due diligence to like make your own PC, or at least come up with all the things about it, then you'd be cooking. But for me, I had a scapegoat, and I used it. And that was my brother who knew way more about computers. And I regret it a little bit because I'm like, I don't know what's happening. When something bad happens. Fluff says, even if your current PC is pre-built, you shouldn't need to replace the whole thing again. I recommend searching up this symptoms and trying to narrow down each part it's failing, if any. But going back to the So I Watch series, if you plan on breaking it up for people who prefer it the way I would do it is 2, maybe 3 parts, and mainly like an info video. This is where you would talk about if there's going to be a season 2, or the probability of it being a season 2. Talk about popularity among other people and what people the anime is for, etc. And then have like a video where you just talk about what you like about the show, ideas you have, etc. Or where you hope to have this, where you hope that the story goes. Wait, was that? Yeah, okay, so yeah, I would do 2, maybe 3. Okay, yeah, 2, yeah. So that's what we're planning to doing Lone Syndicate. Yeah. Also, I think I said Fluff said that. No, it's Lone Syndicate. Sorry, I think I read the comment and then it jumped because Fluff is right above you. But yeah, no, Lone Syndicate said that. Yeah, that's what we're hoping to do, which is mainly just because of the conversation you and me had. So that idea actually came from you, Lone Syndicate, because I always this happened way back in the day when we were starting to do the So I Watch series, or the anime Share Your Grin kind of series, where I started being like I started wanting to try to find a way to make it so this could capture stuff, and I started doing that way back in the day when I noticed for me. Whenever I finished a TV show, I wanted to see if there was a season 2, and subsequently I kind of wanted to talk to someone about it, but I never really had friends to talk about certain specific shows with. So I was always like, oh, okay, well, I like it a lot. I hope there's a season 2, and I was like, okay, whatever. But I was simultaneously really hoping, then that's the idea of the series, so I just a Share Your Grin video. But later down the line, Lone Syndicate a couple days ago, maybe a couple weeks ago actually, said, hey Grin, I think you would enjoy this show. And I tried to Google search it, and I think I seen a quick synopsis of it, but even the r/anime breakdowns of the show is kind of like a cheeky premise, but it doesn't actually tell you like, do you like Zero to Hero shows? Because this show does those kinds of things a lot. And if you find that really enjoyable, awesome. If you find like teen angst and like I'm gonna constantly push past my limit, if you find that to be like undesirable, cringy, or whatever, this show has a lot of that. Stay away from it. By the way, the overarching premise is this. These are the cornerstones, and go forward. It's interesting though, because I do think I'm going to be slightly I have to tell people what the baseline is. Like, you know how again, My Hero Academia, it's like this whole entire archetype of story is how a guy with no powers basically gets powers and becomes the #1 hero, and that's the whole idea. So that's the overarching premise. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's a Zero to Hero show. He goes through trials and tribulations, and he has to actually figure things out. It has a beautiful musical score that seems to pull a lot of people's emotions all the way up. All those things. So that's kind of what I want. But anyways, what I was talking about of why I wanted to make this, why I wanted to finally break apart these. This is kind of a test case for the interesting weirdness about you'll see a problem, you'll know that it's there, and you'll kind of I don't really know how to solve this. I'm just gonna put this in the back burner for a little while because nothing's really coming to me, and then eventually you'll maybe encounter another problem, and you'll be like, hey, these kind of synergize, these kind of harmonize with each other. So that's the idea. That's so I want to make that video for my previous self that Lone Syndicate asked about an anime and that I should watch. Now I want to make a thing when you search that anime, my video comes up and says, hey, this is what the show is all about. If you want to know what it's all about, if you want to know if it would be up your alley, I'll do my best to break that down and kind of put down leads to see if you're like, oh, that one interests me. And go. And I'll also avoid putting down leads that aren't actually fulfilled. Even though something says in the tags of an anime, like a shonen, but it's it kinda, but not really. It doesn't really have the cornerstone moments of what makes a fun shonen or a fun Zero to Hero show. It's the guy's just overpowered at the beginning. He's not really zero, he's hero to hero, essentially, or badass to badass, or god to god. So if you're interested in that, and then talk about other shows. But I think that could be good. Now the question is, are people searching for those kinds of things? Maybe. I think I was, and I think could be something that other people do. Hey, you should watch this show, and you're like, okay, and maybe some people Google what that's about, and they're like, oh, hey, is a person actually saying it? So I feel like there's a possible probability of a person like seeking this content out, which therefore I kind of want to make it, you know. But that's just a kind of a cool thing where just a weird happen chance suggests, and you're like, oh, that's a problem. Could I fix that? Yes. And then it's like, hey, this could also fix my other problem where we're kind of talking about too many things about like season 2s, and also I think it'd be good for part 1 to kind of be that billboard for So I Watched, like hey, are you interested in the show? This is who would like it. Also invest now because there's a high probability that it'll have a season 2 because it's wildly popular, and there's plenty of source material. So if you want to invest, it's probably a smart investment. Or hey, there's a season 2 out right now, so you have 2 seasons to go binge. So if you like what you like, you're gonna have more of it. Like I think all of these are things where people could go, oh, okay, I'll invest. I'll invest. And then at the end of the video, I'll be like, hey, if you made it this far, and you want to, and after you're done finishing the show, come back to this channel and check out this video, and it's basically just going to be us talking freely about what the show was doing and why I liked certain things. So ideally, the me just hyped about the show I just watched is going to be there, and then like a couple days later, it's going to be followed by the like, hey, this is who would like this kind of show. I hope I hope that's the thing we do. Granted, I haven't made that video yet with a voiceover. Also, this is the other thing that like I don't know if there's some sort of, and maybe if anybody has heard around, but how do content creators use anime footage? Because I tried to upload like 2 seconds of My Dress Up Darling footage, and Annie Polex is a fucking horrific cunt about it. Okay? They blocked it in all countries. So like they don't DMCA ding you. But like, again, that was something that they like YouTube should implement. But basically there's fair use in everything but China and Japan, I believe. So why couldn't you just block like videos going out to Japan if that is like, if that's their laws, you know, like let's honor that law or something like that. Yeah, it's weird. Anyways, Nub says they tend to flip the image and crop it. It doesn't work. I do more than that. I do like 10 times. Well, thank you for replying, but I've tried the same thing because I thought the same idea. I not only crop it, I spin it around, but I also do this 3D image thing where I warp it like this and like this. So I take a plate, this is the plate, it's facing you, I do this, and then I do this. so it looks hella fucked up. But it still kind of gets the job done. And I think there are just shows that allow you to use it and shows that don't. And worst case scenario, I might just have to be like, hey, like I use images, like here's a scene from this, here's an image of this, and then this, and then this. And I feel like that's less bad if it's consistent. Like here's an image, here's an image, here's an image. If it's like here's an image, talk, people are like, people start to tune out, you know. But I think there'd be a way to do it, even like well within the copyright thing of just using, like looking at a still image essentially. Fluff says, all I know is that this is supposed to be worst kidney stone I'll experience going forward. However, I will be more prone to further stones too. Weird. And why is that? Why are you more prone? Lone Sitting, it says, oh yeah. The one about Monster, yeah, Monster, the one the girl's trying to make like a Frankenstein monster or some sort of thing against the heroes or something. Department, are you referring to? Yeah, that one. Except ideally I would like watch the show, have an opinion about it, and like have a way to express what it's doing. Because otherwise I wouldn't feel comfortable about like just shitting those videos out about not doing the due diligence to understand the show and like talk about, hey, if you like these kinds of shows, you like this. This is one of the threads that I thought was quite charming. This is one of the other threads that was also there, but I didn't really care for. Lozing, it says, oh yeah, some animes are misleading with their genre. Yeah, man, misleading with their genres. Yeah, well, I think they're just so little, which is weird because like other things have a lot of tags. But yeah, Fluff says, The things about tags is they can often be specific and too vague from case to case. Shown in anime is the broadcast is simply young male protagonist, yeah, something like that. Young male protagonist doesn't generate a proper character development or progress the power. Yeah, which is why I think there's things like Zero to Hero which make more sense, or like what do you call it? Yeah, honestly, Zero to Hero is probably one of the best like quick synopsises of like what the show is. Also, isekai, like isekai, hey, it's like a thing. But also, I feel like there's always shows that like this is the isekai for people that have seen too much isekai, you know. Nub says they tend to flop the image and crop it. Oh yeah, no, I read it. Sorry, read that all. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's funny because I think some of them do that and they think got past the DMCA people, and I think it's just like the DMCA people are okay with it. But it's also frustrating because I don't use footage. I've never used footage that isn't uploaded as a trailer for the content itself. Like, this is literally what you were using to advertise the show, and I can't even use that within my video. That's kind of freely advertising your show. I'm not negative ever, really. And if it is, it's like devoured by like me being like, this is great. And if it is negative, I try to dissect why I'm having a bad experience. Not even that it is a bad experience, because I don't know, maybe you like it. Fuck. I don't know. Oh, let me finish my coffee before I start drinking that other thing, my energy drink. I wish they had a new Saints Row trailer out. Also, yeah, so I'm gonna be busy. I have 2 videos I want. Yeah, 2 more videos after this build video I want to make. That should be good, because I have. Yeah. So I need to edit some things. Also, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried, a little freaked out, because I have never made a video of that, which I talked to you guys about just now. So I watched, like, here's like, again, I want to do one of Don't Tease Me, Don't Toy With Me, Nagato, or whatever it's called, and Reincarnated as an Assassin. That one. Also, please tell me somebody here has read the manga of the world's greatest assassin reincarnated in another world as a fucking yeah, that's the whole thing. And no, as an aristocrat, that's what it is. Sorry, it's like the longest. I think it's literally the longest pound for pound name, and it's like excessive. Like, you don't need in another world. We get reincarnated. What the fuck? It's like double excessive. Anyway. But has anybody seen that? I was gonna say maybe it'll be up Nub's alley. I was gonna say, what? There are 3 mangas about the time. What? Mangas with that? Yeah. What do you call it? But have you read that, Nub? Because I feel like it's a little bit dark, a little bit mysterious. Has anybody read the manga of that? Because I want to talk to someone about the manga. Like, I have a theory about that anime, the reincarnated as the world's deadliest assassin reincarnated. Yeah, that one. You have read it? Okay, don't tell me. Let me know if my theory is even remotely close. No, wait. I'm gonna catch up on chat a little bit. Fluff says, granted, I'm not going to cease staying hydrated and taking things to help take precautions to reduce preventing the yeah, man. That's always the one thing. It's interesting though, because you'll get sick or you'll get like super, pains in that way, and you're like, I'm gonna take my vitamins, I'm gonna eat properly, and you do, but it usually starts to dwindle. But I wonder if the pain that you went through, which seemed to be present, like super present for such a long time, if that's gonna be harder to shed than like, being sick for a while and being like, oh, I took my health for granted, like me right now. Nub says Japan doesn't have any kind of free licensing. I don't agree. It should exist. What do you mean it should exist? The thing is, Japan doesn't recognize fair. Yeah, that's what it was. I seen that there was like the one guy who made a lot of One Piece videos. Yeah, it was weird because YouTube was like, they had an out of like letting him just make it so that all content in Japan was nixed, essentially, not being shared there. Yeah, but no dice. It's so not good. It's so not good. Okay. I gotta use the washroom before I talk about this. But please, Nub, stay here because I wanna ask this. But Grin, I want to talk to you about some anime thing. Yes, Lone Syndicate. Hold, because I wanna see because I'm curious about this. Okay, but give it. Also, before I forget, I was thinking about that in the bathroom just now. I spent the whole morning editing, like Wonderlands. I said like the first half of it I really liked, but what do you call it? I spent such a long time making such a shitty meme. it's like so missable. It's like on screen for 2 seconds, but it took like 10 minutes to make. I wonder if anyone's gonna spot it and like chuckle. I hope God it happened. Anyways, let's go. Okay. So there's the anime called Reincarnated in Another World. The world's finest assassin reincarnated in a world as an aristocrat. Longest name ever, but. Premise is exactly that. Basically, there's this assassin that's tasked with killing the hero, but he's given a chance to reincarnate. He's given kind of a nice, hits the ground going, essentially. Anyways, I'm not going to talk anymore about it because I'm going to have to explain the whole plot, but there's this subtext that happens. Okay, so I'm going to talk now about if people have seen the show. So, a little bit of spoilers. Not too much. It's kind of like overarching spoiler stuff that we already know. Kind of like how Deku becomes the #1 hero. Kind of that kind of thing. We know where he's going, kind of idea. Anyways, I wanted to ask Nub this. So my like fan theory that I don't know. So I just finished the anime, and I was like, man, I wonder where like what the next couple mangas go. Like what we're going to be experiencing in the next season 2 because it's a successful. So odds are we're going to get a season 2. So in this reincarnated as an assassin show. This goddess like summons him to this new world with the stipulation of you need to either kill the hero or stop the world from ending. If you can save the hero in the process, sure. But the whole show they do this thing where they keep like pointing like the gun at the goddess that summoned him into the world, almost as like she's hiding something or there's something weird there. So they keep doing that. And the whole they never like the season ends and there's no like there's no weirdness there, you know. So you're like, what's happening? And also one of the things that the goddess says at the very beginning is how the world comes to ruin, and the reason why he's tasked with killing the hero is because when the demon king is defeated, the hero goes into like a frenzy and kills everyone, or the world destroys, something like that. And then I watched, just by happen chance, I was like looking through what season 2 could be, and I seen like a manga clip of the hero, and I clicked on the image because I was thinking about making it a thumbnail thing. To help finish the video I just made, and it took me to like the manga page essentially. So like I think it was the first instance where the assassin guy meets the hero in this anime or in the manga, and it basically you find out that the hero is a little bit of spoilers. You find out that the hero was not only like, well, I don't know if this is how it works. I think it's this is the perspective of the assassin's childhood of the hero. That makes sense. So it's like the assassin's analytical, deductive reasoning for what the hero's childhood perspective would be, or just perspective would be. So he ends up going through, and he basically talks about how like the hero was not only isolated because the kingdom itself. For those guys who don't know, in this anime, the hero is like insanely broken. Like he's like a god. Like he's basically there's like a 1 in 1 million% chance, a 1 in 100 million chance to get S rank talents essentially. The hero was born with all 5 of the S rank talents and then some. So he's just absurdly broken, and all the S rank talents are just nuts. And the assassin was able to take 1 of every talent tier. So there's S, A, B, C. So he was able to take 1 from every tier. That was his kind of bonus for the world. But the hero has 5, or like, yeah, all 5 of the S, and then like a bunch of the other ones, and it's just nuts. So he's broken. So the kingdom looks at the hero apparently not as this malevolent savior, but as this like doomsday weapon that they have to like constantly manage and maintenance. It seems like they like to keep him isolated and alone. And it doesn't help that the hero's childhood apparently was that the hero was like part of some noble family, I think, but then cast to be like a farmer, like some sort of bad child. I'm not sure if that's probably right. No, probably come from me, but it's some sort of weird thing. So he basically outcasts the hero. To some extent. And then the hero is basically given all these powers and eventually starts climbing up the thing, and the crown cry keeps him isolated. And then we have, and this is where my theory starts taking off a little bit. So we have an isolated hero that seems to have isolated and probably a really bad upbringing. Doesn't seem like he has a beloved hunger to save humanity. And we have this analytical assassin guy who not only has got his shit together, he's confident, he's lived a whole life as a 40-year-old man assassin who he's clearly killing it. He has a bunch of people around him that love him, that he's kind of manipulated to do that. But don't wait a minute. So my theory is, hello Sparks. My theory is about this how is that essentially, I think that what's going to happen is, I think this is the twist that the goddess fucked up. This is like how she's evil or something. Or maybe not evil. That's the interesting part. But anyways, so we have this. I think it's not a story of how this goddess reincarnated this assassin to kill the hero. And then the hero, before the hero could destroy the world. I think it's a story of the goddess finding a candidate that is going to be the Demon King. This is where I might loosen up, but this is my thought, because she says that when the hero kills the Demon King or something, he goes into a frenzy, and I'm thinking, wait, you have a hero that has like no love for humanity, it seems like, and he has this friendship that he's going to start to build with this assassin guy, who's very much like, and it's funny because I think they mention like the Demon King is rising, so the hero is born or something like that, and I think that correlates with exactly the same time period as this assassin being born in the world. So I think the overarching story is how like the Demon King is reborn in this world, and then the hero is having to basically like he has nobody and he's isolated, and then the Demon King accidentally befriends the hero, and because he befriends the hero, when eventually somehow some way maybe the assassin reincarnation guy dies and leaves the hero kind of stuck, kind of like in a frenzy, because he's his only friend, he's his only person, because the crown and like the political shit isolate the hero, but there's this assassin who can like go invisible, go and meet him, help him in some way, and constantly keep doing this thing, to where I could see there being this like deep enjoyment for this person, and then only for him to find out that this is the Demon King. I'm not sure, but also I don't think the goddess is entirely evil, because I think the goddess could have the perspective, if they're gonna do her right, if this is my weird theory is even remotely okay, if they do want to do the goddess correctly, what they could do is they could say, okay, the goddess wants to find a candidate to lead this world, and maybe she's tried like creating a hero many times, and it's never worked, because the hero is kind of just given a shit ton of power. But power doesn't make you a good leader. It doesn't make you strategic. But what could make somebody a good leader for the world is maybe somebody who had to surpass an impossibly hard challenge, which is to kill a hero, which is to say this person that was born with so many power, they would need to be good at planning, they would need to be good at strategizing, they would need to know how far to push the line, and that's kind of the bread and butter of a weird ruler. So to me, I almost wonder if that's the subtext of the show, because the show is very like, and I think this is honestly one of its faults, is that it's so deadened. Like the guy who is the main character, it's interesting at first because you're like, oh, this is this character that's really interesting. He's like numb, like he's an assassin. He's like literally cold. But at the same time, eventually you just get sick and tired of seeing him like analytically look at something, and you're like, God fucking damn it, he feels nothing still. Or if he does, it's like minuscule. He's so inhuman. I can't relate to him in the slightest. But I think that might be the point, is that she's like this, for her, like people could look at like, oh, you're an evil person trying to pit these friends against each other, but in reality it might be like, well, hey, she's trying to find the best ruler for this place, and also he's human, so he's not going to live forever, so he's probably the best king that could ever come about, and do that. I want to see if also I don't even know if the manga is caught up to that point. to where I can even get an answer for, is this her overarching plan was to basically reincarnate the assassin, and the assassin himself is actually the Demon King in this world or something. And I'm wondering if they're going to do something different with that, where maybe he's not the Demon King, but he kills the Demon King, and maybe the mantra goes on to him, or something happens. Because I'm wondering, because right now the biggest question in the show is, how does the hero, who seems largely kind of okay, if anything, he kind of seems like he's gotten a shitty hand of the deck and then was given a ton of power, which is also sketchy, because like people want revenge or something. But yeah, I think that's just really interesting. But that's my theory. I'm not sure. Let me see what Nub says. Nub says, from how you're starting this, I feel like you're wrong. Yeah, maybe. Okay, let's see. Also, I have a hydrate that I got cash in. Nub says, the goddess reincarnates the assassin to maintain the peace of all the world that the hero is said to perturb. Okay, the goddess told him to help the hero kill the demon lord, and then remove the hero, who will ruin the peace. Oh yeah, is that how it's phrased in the anime, or that maybe how it's phrased in the manga? But is that how it's also phrased in the anime? I thought the anime was, because in the anime I thought she basically says, you need to kill the hero, hard stop, build tension, bah, and then because I don't think she gives him like you need. Yeah, I don't think she ever says, at least in the anime. This may be where they're differing, but they never say that like this needs to be the thing. Or like the anime. What is it called? What is it called? The manga is more than okay. So yeah, but that's why I'm not. It's not that I'm wrong. It's just that we have different sources essentially. But that's interesting. So in the manga, she actually gives him the thing that like you need to help kill the Demon King and then kill the hero. Because right now his whole objective, even in the anime at the very end of the wire, is him just focusing on killing the hero. And then also kind of like, hey, I also could maybe befriend him, because she said that was also okay. Or no, not befriend him. She said you just need to stop the calamity from happening. That's why I think the anime did it too, right? Because they put things a bit out of order and kept out a bit of information out of this, streamline the story. Okay. The manga is more than that, because in the manga, the goddess is more sinister. Okay. So wait, no, am I, what is it, where, is it nothing? Is none of my theory correct? Because to me, that would be the answer to how the kind hero, it seems like, could go berserk. Granted, maybe I've only read like one page of the manga that like it was them meeting. So maybe like they meet and he hates, or like the hero is actually like a monster, and you're like, oh no, it's one of these complete subvert the reality of the world kind of thing. Although I do like that idea. I think that's a fun archetype. I'm not sure. I'm waiting for Nub to fuck up my whole life. Nub says in the anime she just summons more people, and shows the previous ones slacking off. And yeah. In the manga, she actually starts looking for replacements to the main character because her prediction he gets in her way. Oh, okay. But okay. So this is like he's literally like he maybe achieves the goal, but fucks up her outcome essentially. Okay, interesting. I'm waiting for Nub to like. Nub hasn't wrecked shit yet. He's kind of just said, well, I'm kind of waiting for Nub to be like, the difference I feel like, okay. I mean, it's interesting that she, in the anime, she just throws darts till it sticks. Okay. Yeah, no, that's true. In the anime, well, in the anime, it seems like she's crazy. Like, she's literally seems like she's incompetent. Like, she's picking, like, a rap artist to go kill a hero. And you're like, you're bored. You're like, trying nothing. But then I think she eventually finds, like, in the anime at least, it seems like it shows what she did beforehand. So she was kind of, like, bullshitting for, like, all these reincarnations. And then eventually she finds out, like, she's like, no. She asks, like, the system, the, like, world-creating system, like, let me find the highest probability of success, human, that we can find that could achieve the goal of killing the hero. In the manga, she's scheming for her perfect world. Okay. And in the manga, the main character decides not to kill the hero. Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking, too. Also, it kind of follows the mainline thread, which is the guy saying, "I will not be a tool," you know? So I'm not, so I take it the Nub hasn't like said, "You're entirely wrong," but also he kind of says, "Well, there's different things happening." So maybe Nub was trying to be nice and being like, "Well, no, well maybe that was her plan. I don't know, but he fucks up her whole plan." So maybe he should demon himself. I don't know, but he ends up beating the shit out of her. It's not even like a game. Also, it's a fictional character we're talking about. Jesus Christ. But yeah. And in the manga isn't that far off. Okay, from what I can see. Really? Okay. So my theory about like the goddess wants the hero dead. Gotcha. Full stop. Okay. Goddess wants the hero dead. So to me, okay. So is there a demon king then? Now is there like a demon king who's like its own thing? Because like my whole thing is that either I think he's gonna become that, or because I don't know how by killing the demon king he just the fucking what is it called? The hero just starts going manic, and it seems like nobody is the hero's friend as much as the assassin may be. But also he looks up to the assassin, so I could see like the assassin being like his linchpin, and then they kill him. They haven't shown the demon king yet. Okay, so I'm like, maybe my theory can hold weight. No, you'll have to tell me eventually. The main character is trying to fix the hero to prevent any problems. Oh, I see. So he's trying to like give him hope to be a hero, not like to dig into what seems like he has demons, like some sort of horrible mistreatment of him. Interesting. Also, it seems like the manga isn't that far along now, right? It seems like we're still in development. So actually, there might not be a great chance of a season 2 because of source material. Although I think at this point there should be at least enough for one more season. Yeah. Okay. I was ready for my whole thing to be like idiot. No. But actually, it may be. But also, it's also one of those things where like that's my perspective of what the grand plan for her is. But that doesn't mean that like the story could be unveiled in such a way that's like, oh no, he did different things. Like he accounted for her doing this fucked up shit, and yeah. The source is the light novel, which I haven't read. Oh, I see. Gotcha. Okay. I feel like Carthage would have read all of this in 2 nights. And not that Nub is not amazing. Also, what happened to the music? Guys, no, it's just taking a while to queue up. Sorry. But yeah, I think Nub is a much more of, I'm not sure if I'm correct on this, but I think Nub is more of a manga person, and I think Carthage is much more of a book person. So I wonder if I should go ask Carthage these things, which I haven't read from what I'm reading. Gotcha. I'm so curious then. I'll wait until we meet Carthage in a blue moon. Please remind me to ask him because I'll forget. Okay? Love Thicket, what do you want to talk to me about anime? I'm ready. I'm all ears. Thank you for letting me vent about that. I used to be more into novel. Yeah, man. I honestly have no idea how Carthage can do it. Carthage, like, I think everyone goes in phases though now. I feel like everyone like gets into books and then you're like, I'm so exhausted. My brain's hurting from just constant focus and my eyes hurt, you know. One thing it says, I saw episode 4 and 5 of Spy Family. Ooh, man, is it really not like, I don't know why, it feels like time's moving faster. I feel like we should have episode 8 or something. I saw episode 4 and 5 of My Spy Family, and it was the most badass thing I've ever seen. Like, there was a scene where the guy made Annie, the little girl, cry, and Yuri, the lady assassin, thank you, was about to just rip out his throat, and Luid, the spy, the guy, is saying, I must not let my feelings get the best of me, and while he's saying that, he I've already seen that he is in the action of just punching the guy. That's awesome. And so, because I was at that time, it was around episode 4 or 5. I mean, I was worried about that. I was really worried that the show was gonna like tiptoe around the fact of like this girl, because the girl seems like she's in. The girl seems like she's like, I love mom and dad and it's the best, and like let's just have a family. And they're all like trying to do their own shit, and then like she's trying to keep everything together. So the fact that they're also like, no, we're also kind of bought in. I like that a lot too. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Also, I wanted to ask you, have you seen that other why is there why is like the music seeming like it does not exist? Oh, I think I just keep seeing the playback when it's like well done, like when it's way past. How do I put it? Like I'm looking at the playback as soon as the song ends, so it looks like there's no sound coming out of it because I can barely hear it. But I want to say, Lone Sega, do you see that anime that's about like the premise is it throws you through a loop? At least I think. I've only seen a clip of it that I thought this looks kind of cool, or I like the idea of it. It's like a rom-com, seeming like a little bit, but it basically, okay. The premise is that there's this reverse harem dating sim game that I guess like a connoisseur of dating sim games, or like visual novel things, whatever. This dude, he's really into those games, and I think he even plays this game, which is like a reverse harem, which like a bunch of dudes and one girl, that kind of thing. Anyways, he and another girl apparently get sucked into this dating sim world game, whatever. He's a side character, I think, and there's like the main girl is from like this person who's like, oh my god, I got reincarnated in my favorite dream or my favorite game. Look at me, I have so many options, etc. I think it's like gamified. I think they got like a handler that kind of talks to them about it. Wait, which one? There are like 3 of them. Well, the premise, I think, well, it's one that has an anime. I don't think there's too many that have anime, right? But it's a reverse harem. So it's like a girl who has like a bunch of princes fawning all over her. And it's funny because this dude is like a mega giga chad about like knowing everything in this game. And she sucks. She's like just a casual and he's like hardcore. So he's just like, she's making all the wrong choices, etc. But anyways, what made me interested in it, that I thought was really cool, there are like 2 of them that are in anime. Golly, well, it's a new one. It's out recently. But... oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, but to me, what, like, right off the 3rd episode, I think is what it's talking about. So in the dating sim, I guess, in this, like, anime 3 fucking layers deep thing, in the dating sim generally, there's, like, a prince, and there's, like, a corruptive, bad princess, like, the sister of the brother that's, like, clingy and fucky, like, you know, constantly like, cockblock brother from woman, whatever the weird reverse dating sim is. But... the one, yeah, robot. See, like, gets into a mecha thing. Yeah, mecha thing. Anyways, but the reason why I thought like it looked actually pretty interesting is because the guy, it seems like they shift the premise on its head where like the guy finds the sister princess or whatever, the one who's supposed to be like the tyrant in the anime, and he starts like befriending her and like working for her, almost like, okay, you want to own this world? Bullshit. I want to bet on what is it called, the evil option or something, which I don't think she is, and this is, I think the story is that she's just like lonely and all that stuff. And I think the main character kind of does that for them. And I don't know, I think I think the way it's going to end, and people are saying this in the comments, but it's like, I think this is going to end in such a way where this dude beats the fuck out of all like the pretty boy harem, because that's the thing, it's a reverse it's a reverse harem, which just means there's a girl who has a bunch of male options, and then I think there's the dude who plays all of these games who turns into like the Giga Chad in the show and makes not only the human person who's embodying the AI archetype in this video game, he's gonna make her fall for him, as well as the one he's basically gonna be like, we're in a reverse harem, fuck that, let's go, and then makes everything work for him, which I is just gonna be a weird, it seems so weird and complicated, but I'm also like, it could be fun. He also seems kind of creepy, like I'll fucking stab you kind of creepy. But it looked fun. It looked like a fun show. I won't watch episode 3, and I was like, I wonder what he's gonna do, because he's about to fight the 3 princes, and I'm like, that looks funny. I can't wait. It's like a good, solid slice of life show. You know what I mean? Just like, pff, just nothing. Alone says, yeah, she loves them very much, and they feel the same way about her. The spy went out of his way to reward her for getting into school. Nice, yeah, man. I think that's the thing, though, that, and I feel like that's the way they're pacing out Spy X Family, right, Lone Syndicate, where it seems like they're kind of like the dude has to rationalize to himself that like this is just, yeah, like this is I'm just doing what I gotta do. Well, meanwhile, he's like, I love this, like my family, my family. He's like, but like, it all makes sense. I don't know how the woman is though. I have no gauge on what she is. All I know is she's into knives. She's into knives, and he's kind of like, all right, let's relax, But I have no idea her perspective. I think her perspective is a little like I think she's like what normally is like the male character, which is kind of like dopey, but also like hella overpowered, like just a badass, like super excessively strong. But also she seems like she's like cutesy as well, like she's like into certain things, yeah. Unless he says, oh, I know which anime you're talking about, yeah. There are two animes, like, oh, robot one, yes. He's talking about trapped in a dating sim, the world of Otomo game is tough for mobs. Is that right? Is he considered a mob? Okay, I guess like he's not like the main character, so I guess he's considered like a side NPC. All right. I mentioned it to you a while. Yeah, you mentioned it to me a while ago. But I didn't know. Like to me, I was like, okay, it's a premise. But they sold it to me when there was like this, like I don't know. It's really interesting to me that like the main character doesn't go for like the cutesy girl, but instead goes for like the badass tyrant, like the woman, or supposedly the badass tyrant of like the woman who's like bossy and shit, but also like sweet, not like Tsundere. I don't think it's the case. I think it's just one of those like weird ones. But I don't know. To me, I'm like that's pretty cool. I think that like that to me made it like, because a lot of premises are interesting, but like it's whether you can latch on to one of the things you're like, okay, that I want to see how that story ends. I want to see how this comes to being. Can I just yeah, go ahead. Yeah, well, spoiler is a strong word. I mean, you could say no. you could say any spoiler you want and be like, my theory, wink wink, is, and then be like that. We'll just say you have a crazy good batting average, which you do. I think the one is worth much of. I don't think that one is worth that much of watching till season 2. Oh, you mean the one? Yeah, well, you mean like binging it all the way through? That makes sense. Also, does anybody know if the realistic hero, is that right? Yeah, I think it's right. Does anyone know if the realistic hero is fully done? Because I'm looking for a new show to watch, especially now after I'm done editing all these things, to be like, this is my reward, and I go to sleep as I watch shows. I wanted to finish that, but if it's not finished, I don't want to get in it. Nub says no, cause it's boring till the oh, okay, and it only gets good on the second arc. Okay, well, also I feel like I enjoy, I feel like if there's a war arc that gets like spicy and crazy, okay, but I feel like I'll enjoy all of it. I feel like I'll enjoy like the goofy fun slice of life, and then the oh fuck it's getting real kind of moment. Fluff says, I have nothing of value to contribute for the anime talk. I appreciate his vibe in the corner of Fluff. However, I did get to Chaos level 35 after latest stream, and my Clawbringer build is doing well. Only struggle a bit on the 34th trial due to Burnin the Dragon Lord. Oh, yeah, man. The invincibility phase. Woof. Man, Sword Explosion should help. A primordial version of Sword Explosion should help. But also, I feel like I need to find the version of my SMG that's primordial. And I think my build would be really good. Because actually, that's the thing that's crazy. Last night, I just wanted to see. Because I really didn't like the idea of like... I don't like the idea of using only that taser weapon. Because I just thought like, I just didn't really make me excited to use a taser weapon all the time. Also, I didn't like I wanted range damage, and I know Executioner's Blade is kind of their gearbox's like slight thing to do that, to do range damage. So I have that like SMG that I throw, and it like shoots out 4 bullets, and it has a decently high crit chance, and also it counts as pixies. So it doesn't really matter. It could be guns with things or pixies. It doesn't matter. Just the fact that it fires and multiple projectiles can hit that makes it pretty good. So to me, I was like, oh, okay. If I was throwing with it, and eventually I actually shot an enemy that was like a wyvern, and actually melt the wyvern. And this is a level 0 weapon. It's not chaotic, it's not volatile, it's not primordial, but it was still doing good damage. So I was like, And it made sense, frankly. We do just a shit ton of elemental buffing, so the fact that that was just doing so many instances of elemental, and we do so much dot damage that it just sequences. But to me, I was like, if I can get even a volatile version of a Furior that has multiple projectiles, I'm good. Like, I'll be really good. But unfortunately, I don't have that. I don't have. Oh, I'm sorry. There's shotguns, but I think SMGs just have that like just a consistent output that requires you to detonate those ghost blades. But I think if I got that, then I would be like, our build would be able to sequence perfectly. But I don't have that yet. So, but our build sort of works really well. Also, it's kind of like I want to make sure people remember to melee, because it's the whole point, you know. There is no war arc. The war is the final, finale of the first arc. Oh, I see. Okay, interesting, weird. Lone Syndicate says, also, I finished that show, and man, great series. Just as good than when I first watched it. It was, looking back on it, it was ahead of its time, considering the fact that the theme is basically the war, basically a war on censorship. Yeah. I just Lava's War. I was like, maybe a little bit. But you didn't say that. But what do you call it? Yeah, man. That anime is just funny. Like, it's goofy. It's interesting. Also, yeah, that's one of the few shows that, like, okay, I don't know, because a part of me, like, there's like the clear like heroine idea is like the brunette girl, or the dark-haired girl who's kind of like the perverse whatever, and he's kind of like I'm not attracted to perverts, disgusting. You know, he's like into like innocence or something. Creepy. What a creep. What a main character creep. But yeah. Anyways, I looked at to me, I really liked, like, to me, I don't know what it is, but there's like so many anime that, and I think I talked about this in the Assassin, what is it called? The world's finest assassin reincarnated in another world as a nurse reckon. That one. In that anime, I talked about, like, what is it about the archetype of, like, the childhood friend that is like the one that has showed up the most, that knows the character the most, that's given the most, that's like been there the longest, that cares the most, that loves the most, etc. That like everybody collectively, it seems like in storytelling, just says, yeah, but no, but fuck it, toxicity. Let's go with something else. And it's, to me, man, I was thinking about that the other day too. In that show that we just talked about, it's the same thing as in ReZero. Like the same idea of like maybe it's like a writing or a time issue, but they always like the main heroine that the guy is like head over heels with, and maybe it's because people just don't have the skill to like make it obvious that this person is like clearly the best and like the most well-deserved of this person's time and whatever. Maybe it's a testament to like love and how it doesn't need to make sense. It's just an overwhelming feeling that you feel, and you kind of feel that for whomever you decide, I guess, to feel that, whether it's previous trauma or just baseline how you grew up, whatever it could be. But yeah, like to me in that assassination show, they refer to the main character every month going and seeing this main person that's his fucking cousin, dude. But anyways, we've seen worse in anime. Anyway, but it's one of those things that to me never makes sense, because like, yes, they're like they talk about, oh yeah, he kept going back and seeing this person, but then there's a person who literally like works her ass off, constantly shows up, is constantly present, is constantly there, and that's just never talked about. So to me, I don't know why I started talking. Oh right, the whole for the Shinameta, I can't say names, but that one, the one that Lone Syndicate is talking about, that show, I would love to see an ending where he actually ends up with the one person that is clearly head over heels with. But granted, she's also maybe into some sort of perverse thing and not actually into him, which that could be an interesting premise of like an ending. But I don't know. To me, I always find it like, I feel like it's an attractive quality that an above average looking person is really attracted to you. Maybe not like yandere nightmare hell, but something. Instead, it's like the quiet person who literally does nothing for you. You're like, you have mommy issues or something. You know, like, Jesus. Anyway, sorry. Fluff says, yeah, I know. Yeah, I need a decent sword explosion. Yeah, I could drop it for you on Sunday, Fluff. Someone in Discord has one that I suggest they share next stream. Yeah, I have a primordial 3x3 cryo sword explosion. Love says also, I figured out what had those additional. Oh yeah, no, I know. Sorry, I seen your comment, Fluff. I did read your message. Yeah, it was there was a special ability on your wyvern. Yeah, no, I read it. Yeah. Oftentimes though, I don't know what to reply to things, so I just say I'll talk to them about this next time. That's literally how I do most things. But oftentimes I forget. But my premise in my head is when you guys write to me. But oftentimes I'm like, oh, I'll talk to them because we see each other every day, almost like every other day. So I'm just like, I'll talk to you tomorrow about it. But then sometimes I fuck up and we're talking about so many different things that I just lose what I wanted to talk to you guys about or talk to a specific person about it. But yeah. Lone Singing says, I'm looking for another anime, like the one that's just weird. Just a good time. Hopefully it's one I never watched, but if not, I plan on rewatching Full Drive. Also, Lone Syndicate, how did you finish? Did you finish? What is the mecha anime, which is like a harem thing that Charles? What is it called? What is it called? I don't know what it's called. You know what I'm talking about. Lone Syndicate, you watched that one. Now that you finished it, you peaked. Who's best girl? Okay. Fluff says White Rider is great legendary SMG to be used as a gun, since you wouldn't want to be using much ammo outside of maintaining a low mag on Livewire. What do you mean? Since you sorry, what is the White Rider again, Fluff? And what is its gimmick? Is that it repairs ammunition? Oh, I didn't know that. Fluff says, and Moxie's Plague Bearer Clawbringer Stabbo is viable as Stabbo and /Grave too. So you could try incorporating skills from that and still go melee whilst doubling down into Contagion. Graveborn Stabbo class mods also offer point in Contagion. Yeah, that might be good. And it's got a... Does his is Claw and Stabbo, but you're saying his class mod has more into Stabbo? Like abilities and perks? And does his have what is the is it I think it's probably converts all damage to dark magic, right? We may yoink that shit. We may yoink that shit. Lone Syndicate says also Data Live season 4 is just popping off as well. Part of me is like I should wait till it's just all done and out, but then the other part of me is like, I need to know what happened. Yes, see, Lone Syndicate, I ain't playing that game. I know I'd get eaten up by it. I'm like, I don't even get. Fucking damn Crunchyroll is kicking ass. Like right now, they're doing really cool things with the English dub channel, or they're just uploading like little fucking clips, and it's all kind of over the place. So it's like a show that you never knew, like you never gave a try, or like you were thinking about watching. And it's a really smart idea because it's like just that drip feed of like, here's a funny scene from a show. Here's another funny scene from the show. Here's another thing. Here's a cool moment. Here's the whole fucking episode of episode 1. That, like, they're constantly drip feeding you like that, to where like, because a lot of times what happens is people have like a laundry list of shows to watch, but you have no like firing off to go get it, you know. So like the idea that you're like, oh, I forgot I was interested in that show. Let me watch that. Crunchyroll is still, well, I don't know Crunchyroll as a whole. I just know that whoever's running the dub channel is actually like the Crunchyroll dubs is doing a really good job as a job. His job is to like excite people and to keep them engaged and to like value their service. Awesome. I think he's doing a good job, regardless of the company overarching head, which is Crunchyroll. Fluff says, yeah, I didn't expect you to reply to DMs. Why I brought it up. Yeah, you know, I appreciate when you do that because I sometimes forget. But yeah, no, I thought that was an interesting thing, especially because I think the next build I want to do is make a collaborate or something. But yeah, it's curious what it will be. White Rider is the dual single beam poison SMG. Yeah, that one's probably pretty good too. But I guess to me, man, I really am craving a weapon that just scales off of something else. Like, it's really annoying that only one weapon seems to do that. Fluff says his build is Claw and Stabbo as he adapts his Vault Viper melee into it. Gotcha. Claw and Stabbo. Yeah, because I don't really need any investment in Graveborn. Graveborn doesn't give us, that much stuff. If any, really. We're just kind of there for Reaper of Bones, which is just fun. And also, like, some good healing, I guess. Yeah, some on-spell cast heal is pretty nice. Fluff says, however, Clawbringer and Graveborn both synergize well with Contagion, and Contagion is the only found on Graveborn and Stabbo class mods. Oh. Interesting. So you can get a little bit of double. Nice. Lone Syndicate says infinite status. It's infinite stress. Thank you, Lone Syndicate. Infinite stress. I haven't finished it. I'm on to like episode 10. Oh, you're right there. Oh, I guess there's 2 seasons. In the anime, and it's a turn off for me, but I like it. Wait, what do you mean? What? Oh, I see. I didn't read the thing. I'm on episode 10 of season 1 because I like it so much, which is weird. Because normally when I hear mechs in anime, it's a turnoff for me. But I like it, and best girl is Charles, my boy. But I also like Laura, the white hair girl. Yes, she's kind of like also not very present, like aware of things. But yes, also kind of a stacked deck in a weird way. You know, she's in the bed, but yeah, the German accent also pretty cute. But I'm good to hear. Charles, let's go. Fluff says he settled on Claw and Stabbo since Claw boosts elemental and boosts status damage instanced. Fluff says Stabbo and Berserker are still the strongest melee combo, but for status damage, Claw and Grave are better paired up with Stabbo. Yeah, I'll be honest. Fluff, I'll be honest. The build's already made. I've already started editing the video of it. So if I make more changes, I'm going to have to remake the gameplay loop. So we could make a 2.0 video of thing in the future, which I do think I will do. I think, again, I'm hoping that the video comes out beautifully. Like, to me, it's one of my favorite videos I ever edited, and also I think I ever made. But yeah, that's on top of that, it's over expectations. It's a bad video, but you should watch it. But it's bad. Set expectations low, but invest. But no, I just finished editing it. I have to edit one more chunk of it. I still have to make a thumbnail for today as well, for today's video, which is a little bit of a rant on Melee, just being a fucking nightmare. Frankly, yeah. Lonsington says, my least favorite girl as right now is between the childhood friend or the British girl, but the British girl is kind of growing on me. Also, I never watched the anime where the main character is that dense, like the point where it's oh, dude, that's a symptom of every anime, especially any anime like a couple years back. You can't see a harem show without the character being a hundo P asexual or gay. Like hundo P. Not even like a doubt. It's like, it's not that you're dense, it's that you're not into it. It's that you have no conception of, yes. You know? Like, it's just nonsense. Although I don't remember the French person. Who's the British person again? I know there's like the girl with the twin tails who's small, who's like kind of like the tsundere meta, and then there's like the big tsundere version, which is also bad. Honestly, everyone sucks except Charles. And I think there's one. The German one's kind of fun too, but also she's just kind of eventually she's just nice. Also, when you get to season 2, there's I feel like best 2 waifus is Charles, and then there's the season 2 short-haired, gray-haired girl. You'll see her eventually on Syndicate. It's great. She's great. I should finish my goddamn Red Bull. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to go use the washroom, and then we are going to start a segment on Sunday's streams. Okay? Let me pull up this just so we can get to it. Documents. That. Okay. Why is there no pages of this? Yeah, my thing fucking crashed. Give me a sec. I'll go use the washroom. I'll be back. right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a new segment on the stream, chat, whatever, which is basically Grin trying to explain what he has learned in the last millennia. Okay, now I'm reading a book, and I always just want. It's apparently like a great thing when you if you can explain something to somebody and it kind of makes sense. It instills greater depth of memory, essentially. So I will talk at you for. Let's make it a timed thing, so it's not a living hell. Okay. Okay. Where is it? So, from my boys in the chat, be patient with me. Okay. Holy fuck, there's so much text. Okay. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Is that going? It's not really going. How do I? Oh, fuck me. How's this gonna go? Is that going like this? Is that remotely in frame? Let's hope. Why is it fucking doing that? Can you see the 10-minute mark? I hope that doesn't vibrate and just fucking fly off my thing and break my phone. Book clubbers. Yeah, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about commitment and consistency within the mind, okay? And this is essentially the overarching idea. Let's start with a quote, okay? It is easier to resist at the beginning than it is at the end. Leonardo da Vinci, kill me. Anyways, it's okay. So what this is basically talking about is there's something within human psychology that basically talks to the idea that, how do I put it? Basically, it's the idea that when you commit to something, you have a higher probability of being happy with said commitment. So they have, like, one of the studies that they actually showed was, weirdly enough, when somebody at a race course, horse race kind of betting thing, essentially when people made a bet, they became increasingly more confident of what they just betted on, than they previously were. So this kind of overarching thing is like, well, why is that? And the idea, I think, is consistency as well as commitment. And it's just the idea, and this is, to me, man, fascinating as hell. Because one of the things that they talk about within this story, it's an example that kind of articulates this. But it also makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But basically, there's this story of this, it's like a neurobiologist or something like this, some sort of guy who basically does work in these regards. But anyways, he had this female friend, and this female friend was in a relationship with this person. Also, let's get strategy. We're doing book review for a hot minute. Also, my phone shut off. It was useless putting it up there. But anyways, so in this story, in this example, there's this woman who has this boyfriend that basically refuses to marry this woman, as well as drinks heavily. He also moves into her apartment. Now, they start arguing excessively. They do that for 3 weeks, and then eventually they decide to split up. So now this is her ex-boyfriend. So the woman, a couple months later, finds her old college friend, female or male friend, and they later become romantic, and they later become partners. And kind of soon, around like 4 months after they met, they actually are engaged. But the girl gets a phone call from her ex, and the ex is pleading about, okay, can you please take me back? And the woman explains, no, I found someone new. And the guy keeps pleading and says, okay, I'll promise, I'll what do you call it? I'll do whatever you want. And then she explains to him that, no, I'm actually getting married. He's my fiance. And then the guy says, no, I'll marry you. I'll marry you. Just take me back. And then she still says, like, no, I'm not doing this. And then he's like, I'll do whatever you want. I'll stop drinking. And at this point, the girl kind of stops and says, well, shit. Now the pendulum is kind of much more built into the other person. So like her ex, it's like, okay, well, if you stop drinking, actually, you're way more, for whatever reason, it's like sociology of the mind, you're way more appealing to me. So she says, okay, if you promise to do all those things, I'll do it. I'll end my relationship with this person, and we'll be together. Fast forward 3 weeks, they're back together. Fast forward another 3 weeks, her ex, which is now her partner, is drinking again. Also, 2 months later, the ex starts saying, maybe we should wait to, get married. We don't want to overcommit to something that we would later regret. It's just what we do. And The thing that's funny though is that the woman only became more invested in the person. There's a specific word that they use actually. That, let me see. Yeah, the woman only became more devoted, essentially. Which to me, I was just like, what the fuck? This is toxic as fuck, dude. But then he interviews his friend who had this experience happen to her, and he was watching this play out for years. And he basically was like, what happened? And she was saying, because I had to choose, I found out who I really loved, you know? And this is just one of the examples, a little bit more uncomfortable of the examples of the sheer nature of you choosing does something subconsciously to the brain, which is crazy and weird. But like when you like, and this is kind of an articulated thing to like politics. Like if you, and this is something they say later down in the chapter, it's not even just about like, I give you a choice. If you choose, you're more likely to be happy with the choice you chose and also find ways to give reason to that choice. What do you call it? It also talks about like if you were to speak something into existence. So if you were to say like, I believe X, and you were to say that to your friend, there's a higher probability that you will stay that course. For instance, one of the examples that came out to me in my head was the example of somebody talking about the idea of like if a person was head over heels in love with their partner and just like gushing, like this dude was just very invested in his partner, saying that he loved her, saying that this was the best person for him, and he was telling his friends that. What is the likelihood that if she started to treat him poorly, that he would like start to be like, no, she's a bitch? It's probably lower if he were to continue to talk about how great she is and how she's the best thing that happened, especially to friends, parents, because if you accept that actually they're actually pretty shitty to me right now, then that would mean you were communicating false information, which is the passive subconscious thing to basically need to be consistent. And then there's the question of, well, why do we have this thing in our brain that kind of has this effect? Like why are we more happy with the decisions that we make, even if they're bad decisions? Like the example with the girl and the boyfriend, it's not like, this is the scary thing about this mental kind of tape that's being played within some people. Granted, it's based on the probability idea, so they're more likely to have this happen than you are against. It's not for sure. This is like constantly what you're at the behest of. What's good, Doc? Doc says, hey, hope all is good. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. We're doing a little book review right now. I'm trying to explain what I'm currently reading about. But what do you call it? Where did I fuck, I throw it off by myself. But that was the thing that was kind of freaky to me, is that it's not even about, like in the example with the woman who accepted her ex, it wasn't like the ex held true to the deal. It was just that there was a deal that was made and a choice having to be chosen. And to me, a lot of this stuff, like the need to validate your commitment / choice. So just based on making a choice, you have a higher probability of rationalizing that choice and not letting like conceding ground. To me, it explains to me a lot of things that to me just never made sense. Like why some people are stuck in a kind of a bad relationship. Things like, again, I talked to you guys about this beforehand, but it's like there's a crazy thing I remember hearing a long time ago, but it was like kids who were paralyzed in an accident or something have like a day of feeling like really horrible, but then it's insane. Like the adaptive mentality of the mind, how eventually like within a couple days they're playing with the other kids who are also disabled to some extent, like a leg lost, a limb lost or something. So it's like this notion of if you resign yourself to your fate, you start to like because a lot of like negative emotions and stuff is wishful thinking about where you would ought to be, where you would rather be, what you could have rather had, you know. It's also a bad thing that like is when it comes to relationships. If you're always thinking about what the grass is on the other side, won't value the grass currently in front of you. Yeah, but in this instance, it's like, well, sometimes the grass can be bad, but you can validate the fact that even if it's bad, you'll enjoy it more just by accepting that is your choice that you made. Almost like accepting the bed you've made for yourself. And yeah, that was one piece. Has it been 10 minutes yet? It feels like the longest 10 minutes of my life. We got 1 minute. What else? I'm going to kill the timer. I wanted to talk to you guys about one more thing in this that I thought was interesting. But yeah, the notion of giving somebody a choice actually increases the likelihood that they will enjoy the choice that's being made as well as try to be consistent about whatever choice they make. I guess it's kind of different too. Consistency is a little bit weird. The timer was a lie. Listen, I mean, we're almost done, but I feel like I'm running out of time, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about it. Oh, this is another one that, to me, again, a lot of this stuff is like, it talks to an idea of like, people have these, like, we have so much data. We have so much data that everyone is trying to rationalize each day. You have this autonomic kind of feature to where like your brain doesn't want to keep thinking about things, so it will like offload information and just kind of run like a kind of a quick tape, essentially, just so you can not have to deal with all of the stimulus constantly happening with yourself. But this was one of the things that freaked me out about an example of this study that they did. Oh, also, before we go to that, because this is to me far more interesting. Okay, so to talk about this idea of like remaining consistent on all these things, it's really funny. So these researchers did a test. The test was simple. They went to a beach. They found somebody who was laying down on the beach. They would have a blanket and a boombox, and they would set the boombox down, which is playing music, right beside, give or take, the person. They would then sit down. The researchers would sit down. Of course, they don't look like researchers. They're just like wearing shorts. They would basically lay down beside the person who's also enjoying the sun and the beach. Then they would get up, walk away, walk a good distance down the beach, and they would have another researcher come up, pick the boombox, which is playing sound, so most people would hear it, going away, pick up the the fucking music box, whatever it's called. They pick up the box and then they start walking away. But also the researcher trying to like make it look like it's stealing, so they're kind of frantically walking away. And what is the exact number? I think it's out of 20 people who experience this. Yeah, out of 20 people who experience this. Wait, no, I got the wrong thing. Where is it? Yeah. Okay, so 20 people they did this test with. Only 3 did anything. They all, like, the passerby is basically the people who were there sitting beside. Only 3 people got up and did something like, hey, that's not yours, etc. But what do you think happened when the researchers did the same test, but instead, when the guy got up to go for his walk, he asked the person beside him, hey, would you mind watching my stuff for a minute? I'm just going to go take a couple, I'm just going to go for a little walk. And most people are like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, and they just go. The staggering amount, 19 people out of 20 people. It's fucking, it's hilarious the way it was written too. What do you call it? Not only did 19 people out of 20 do something about this, the other researcher who picks up the boombox and runs away, but a lot of them showed vigilante-like behavior, running after the people, stopping them, and also subduing them in most instances, whether it's physical or verbal, running after them. So it's just this notion that is fucking madness to me. Yeah, what would we call it? Lone Syndicate says, I am so lost, sorry. Oh, no, it's okay, Lone Syndicate. What's lost? To me, that like the subheader is just that, the basis of what this whole chapter is talking about, it's kind of confusing when it says commitment and consistency, but it's basically just that once you have made a choice on something, you are more likely to justify making that choice. Also, subconsciously more likely to be happy about having made a choice, whichever that choice is. That's it. Kind of like resigning yourself to that fate, right? And then there's like this commitment. That's kind of what that's talking to. But consistency is like remaining consistent about what you've already previously established that you believed. So if somebody asks you a favor, yes, you want to be consistent by helping this person because it's your idea of things. But it's mainly talking about commitment. Like if someone asks you something, you follow through because there's biological values within your evolutionary or like tribal evolutionary consciousness, essentially, that was developed. Like, hey, if you're not contributing, if you're not saying what you actually do, people are gonna dislike you. You could, in some cases, be mental, like you're actually unstable, because it's kind of a thing that if you say you're gonna do something, there's something in us that makes us want to achieve what we say we're gonna do. If not, then it's bad. Like it's if you could just think about like tribal stuff, and it goes back. But yeah. But yeah, to me, I thought that was so funny about what the idea of like how just the single slightest like, hey, can you watch that, had a huge uptick in how people actually responded, like to the point where people are being weird, like chasing people down. I could see that being me. If some random asshole is like fucking an idiot and ran away, like walked away from his stuff, I'm like, I'm not responsible for your stuff. But if someone was like, hey bro, watch this stuff for me, like some sort of bro dude said that to me, I'd be like, okay, whatever, yeah, sure, I guess. There's nothing's gonna. And then something happens, you're like, fuck, I said I would do something. And you have to go do something. It's like, and I feel that like mental trigger in my head, which I'm like, god damn you. And then there was one more thing that I thought was more topical in just terms of our daily life, but there was another example they give in the book where this one's more I'll be honest, I'm not even sure if this one makes sense to me. It's kind of complicated for me to understand, this one. But basically the example was this guy and his friend go to this like woo-woo meditation program seminar, let's say. And it's basically this seminar which is talking about how like you can levitate if you meditate, you can heal your wounds, you can become the greatest actor ever. And the guy who's like a researcher about human biology kind of thing and how humans react to certain things, his friend is like a PhD in like some sort of debate or like some sort of critical thinking. That's what it's something like that. So anyways, his friend is patiently waiting there, and the book describes his friend being like super giddy, like he can't wait until there's the QA section just to fuck these people up, and he does. Eventually the QA thing happens, he stands up and he starts basically poking holes in all of their weird arguments, and like they're saying that you're going to be able to do this, but that doesn't make sense because you're saying that you can, how can you simultaneously do this and this? And just, yeah, basically poking holes in all their thing. And they're kind of, at the end of it, after the end of this guy explaining all this, the people, the kind of con artists, are basically like, yeah, well, we have a lot to think about that. Anyways, next questions. And they quickly wrap up the QA after that. But what was shocking was that so many people, right after this thing was done, ran up to the front of the seminar and started like saying, hey, I would like to buy this. I would like to buy this. And the guy is like bewildered. This behavioral psychologist is just fucking lost. He's like, what the hell? Like, were they just too stupid to understand you? And later, these people came up, and he found out that all of these people have a genuine problem that they're dealing with. Basically, one of them was had bad insomnia, couldn't sleep at all. Another person was trying to be an actor and had been failing for years. Another person was trying to find out how to basically get more energy so that they could study more for their college, essentially. So then the guy is like, okay, well, do you guys not understand what he was saying? And then the thing that blew the guy away was that they're like, no, we understood what he was saying. A lot of it made sense. But we started to panic because basically we started to panic, and if I were to keep thinking about what he said, I would basically we would basically lose, or like it would be. I guess it makes sense in the idea that the reason why they acted like that, the reason why they ran up and spent money, even though they were starting to realize that what the guy was saying was, this is all a farce. But there's a reason why. They need that farce, or else they're done. Like they would rather take the lie that these people are selling them than realize that there's no hope for them. There's no solving their problem. And it's kind of like, it's sad, but it also makes sense. Like if you were in a place where you didn't believe you had any sort of understanding on another hope, or an easy, sometimes you could say it's an easy solution, or an easy solution, or a complicated solution. People will choose the easy solution. But in this example, I kind of gave credence to this. It was easier for people to not think about how something may not work, and to just hope that whatever this person's promising does work and will succeed, even though they're specifically running away from the counter knowledge of it all. And I think that helped me kind of rationalize, to some extent, there are some weird things where people believe all these kinds of things, but if it's your only hope, and of course to me it makes sense when there's like community, right? Like when you're like human beings deeply need a community. That's why Scientology and all these flat earth things, it's like this feeling of my tribe, my home. I'm ostracized by my community, but this makes me feel like I'm whole, and I'll take some crazy if it means I can feel like these are my people and I have this kinship. So that to me makes sense. But that was the one where I felt like it's hard for me to, but it kind of makes sense, I guess, when you think about it like that, where it would be easier to accept that information would directly harm them in a way, which would essentially, the reason why it would harm them is because there's no out, there's no savior, there's no like, hey, this was the answer to all my problems. You're telling me that it's not the answer to all my problems. I can't handle that. No. And then they just like say no, and they deviate. So yeah. Anyways, maybe none of this is making sense, but it's helping me express it. It's helping me just throw it at you guys. And then the last thing to me that was really interesting, the last thing, I promise, it was basically a character study of what they did in Vietnam. Or not Vietnam, sorry. It was back when there was a war happening with America and the East. I think like around Vietnam kind of things. But regardless, basically Chinese camps had an insane turnover rate for U.S. soldiers that were captured to give information and to give out allied information, and honestly to write like manifestos of why America is terrible. And that was like insane because like these were war-hardened criminals or war-hardened soldiers, etc. But one of the things that they did was building off of this kind of like psychologist thing, which is basically start small, build up. So what they got the soldiers to do in these prison camps, they didn't treat them like demonstrously, but what they did is they got them to basically like they started off apparently really small, where they were like, hey, can we at least admit that America's not perfect? And they would say, yeah, no, America's not perfect. Then they say, yeah, okay, so can you write down the ways in which America's not perfect, so that, and then we'll maybe this could improve our country, because we're trying to understand how that could be a pitfall. And yeah, so they would do that, and then what they would do, also there's a psychological thing where by speaking something and saying something, like telling your friend you believe something, and writing something down specifically, is way more commitment to an idea than you were just to think about it. Like everyone has crazy ideas and thoughts all through their mind, and like premises, first takes. But when you speak something to someone, it's almost like someone is holding you accountable for that thought potential. Or even if they don't do that, they may just forget about it. It still intensifies the idea that like, oh no, I believe this because I said it and I wrote it down. And there's some sort of weird psychological thing that makes it so that you double believe whatever you write down and say, which makes sense. That's kind of obvious. If you say have a lot of crazy thoughts in your head, that doesn't mean anything. But when you tell your friend about it, when you try to explain it, it almost makes it real and it makes it scary, But yeah, essentially that's how they got to do it. They got them to do stuff, but also, which was really kind of like clever in a really fucked up way, like a mental brainwashing way. What they would do is they'd get these soldiers to write these things, these kind of mental notes of basically getting them to say like, yeah, America's not perfect. This is what they would write, like, this. And then they would basically ask them, I think that what they would do is they would show that paper to other inmates, almost as like, see, this person that we're just talking about, like, what, like the kind of the mess up things here and this and that. And then they would also get them to basically describe like communist stuff, which is basically like, no, this, communism wouldn't work in America, but it's actually good for Japan or whatever, China, whatever. I don't know anything about war, but it was, I don't even think about the factions, frankly. But it was just this mentality of like slowly getting them to like inch towards admitting that there's like some positives here, that there's some this, that there's this. And then eventually what they would do is they would take so not only would they use like the previously written essays about like what America could do better to show other inmates, to make them say, see, it's not that bad, do it. And they would also get rewarded by it. And then they would run contests in the prison that basically got people it's basically like a bunch of prizes, like, hey, you could have like some alcohol, you could have like a peach or something, but it was whoever had the best essay would win. And they made a point to basically accept that like the winners would not always be super communist like written works, but they made it so that most of the time it was communist works that won. So that way people would feel like, oh, I can win on merit, but ever so slightly, bit by bit, because they could see what was winning most of the time. They started to say, okay, I'll give a little bit. I'll say this is pretty great, and maybe this is not so good about America, but I got free food, nice. So they would just keep whittling them over, just pop, 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 which is just fuck. I really, I'm smiling because it's like devious, just like it's like a devious pop, pop, pop kind of thing. And then what they would do is they would take these essays that they ran with these contests, and they would use them to like shout over the intercoms of like propaganda for like why the West is terrible, and written by a soldier from the U.S. Like it gives it more merit or something. They would run this in the prison camp, and it's like a fucking very subliminal brainwashing technique, and you're just like, fucking Jesus Christ. But it's one of those things where like you don't even think that they're not being forceful with you. It's just they're just trying to get you to concede just a little bit. Just a little bit, just a little bit, and eventually you would get to the point where, and this is also another thing, but it's like another thing within psychology, but it's if you can get someone to continually agree with you, you're more likely to get them to say yes to another thing, because they're kind of riding that same yes kind of thing. So the more if someone keeps giving ground to you, it's more easy to allow them to give more ground, essentially, or to even give even greater ground. But again, this is just one of those things where it's not consistency. What is the other one? No, I think it's consistency. Yeah, it's the need to, like, if you've written something down within an essay that says a certain thing, if they're like, hey, but you wrote this is your words, and they're like, yeah, I did read that, but I did write that, but I mean, I guess yeah, you're right, it works in this regard, and then you can see where they're like, yeah, and they're like, they just keep fucking slowly. I don't know, man, that to me gets real. Like, this book I'm reading is about like marketing and like how people try to fuck you over with marketing and how to avoid these kind of things. I haven't got to the chapter where how it tells you how to like not succumb to these kind of mental detonating loops. But I don't know. I found that to be weird, and I know some people are like, what's how, you know, people, again, I understand the perspective of like, you know, everything has 50 studies. You know, I don't buy it, which is fair. I think that's like your job is like to, if you can't rationally make sense of this or find previous information that you've existed in or lived through that has validated this kind of baseline understanding, which to me I have. I could see of like, I could think of a friend that I know told me a ton about how much he loved his girlfriend in high school, and when she started treating him poorly, he was like almost impervious to admit that he was being mistreated because he told everyone. Granted, I feel like if the friend never told everyone that he was head over heels, he would be more okay with like, get away from me, or like, nah, she's not that great, or like, you know, she's being rude right now. You know, it'd be way easier to concede ground because you never gained any ground. You never pushed out saying like, I love her so much, she's the best. You know, but also just the idea that, yeah, when like people are built to be stubborn in a way, and also there's a good reason for you to be consistent. Like, consistency is stubbornness, essentially. Also, it's like when you say, I believe this like political idea, especially when, like, if you look at our media and how we're kind of getting, like, I don't mean to get too much into this, but if you look at our media, a lot of it's like, here's a take on something, here's a title that kind of is impressionable, leaves a thing, and bit by bit, just like the kind of war camp, you're getting conceded by a little bit of ground. Okay, I can kind of agree with that. Okay, I see what you're saying by that. Okay, I get set kind of, and it's the same thing kind of happening within our world, except within advertising or within, you know, politics to some extent, where you're just bit by bit getting nudged, and then eventually you talk to your friend about it because they want to have it to be a discussion, and then when you talk about it, you've basically conceded ground. You've said something, and now your body is subconsciously wanting to be consistent with what you previously said. You want, in some ways, for what you've told everyone you believe to be right, and if what you believed was wrong, then you've basically been sharing misinformation this whole time, and that people would look at you like, ah, he doesn't know his shit. He was wrong about all this. Why would I want to bet on this? And if we come from like tribal backgrounds, and that's bad. When someone doubts you in a tribe, that ain't looking good, bud. So to me, I don't know, I find that fascinating, like painfully so. Again, Lone Syndicate, the last message I see there is Lone Syndicate saying, I'm lost. I have no idea. I'm so sorry, Lone Syndicate. Hopefully I'll get better at explaining things. I think for me, I have a problem with like making things sound like understandable, whereas like I find myself like frustrated with my own like, I don't know what it is, like some sort of stupid brain where it's like, hey, like, you know, biological neural scientist or something. I'll say stuff like that, which is just to kind of articulate that I don't remember what exactly they're called, but I think they had know their shit or something, which is like, who fucking knows? But if it's an argument of like all information could be void and like empty, because like who knows what's right, who knows what's wrong, I understand, but I feel like you have to eventually give people the benefit of the doubt, or else you're gonna be you're not gonna get anything. You know, you're gonna be like, not everything is a lie, nothing is real. We're in a simulation. You know. The chat is as dead as it possibly could be right now. I kind of figured that would be how it would be. Honestly, it's kind of, I'm not sure if it's interesting. I think it's, especially the certain, like, the examples get me because I don't know. I like listening to a test. I like listening to not a test, like a research example, like some sort of, because you can also, when you hear the test, you can say, okay, there might be some like false stuff happening. You know, there could be like, you know, who's to say that like you didn't pick a district and you tested what, 20 people on that beach? Come on, that's not good enough for everybody. It's like, yeah, but why? Why about, like, there was 3 people who didn't to 20 people. Maybe, again, there's definitely an argument for, like, this could be wish-wash. But that doesn't mean that, to me, a part of me is like, but why did someone, just by the pure, not even like a big, like, can you please keep my items safe? It's not like, you know, can you just watch this? Like, what does that mean? But in your head, you perceive it as something greater. And I think that's pretty weird. Nub says, I am playing my game. That's why I ain't fair. Fluff says, it sounds similar to the sunk cost fallacy. You are far less likely to abandon something you've already chosen to invest into. Yes, yeah, I'm sure I'll get to that too in there somewhere. Like with how I stuck with a mobile game like Smite for half a decade, thanks to the monstrous amount of investment fueled my time. Yeah, man, I feel the same way about, dude. It's funny because Fluff always tells me like these are the gotcha. Like Fluff always seems like he talks like something, like he's been through some shit. And I guess that's what that is. Because I'm always like, man, I'm not even sure if I'm having fun in Genshin anymore. I'm kind of just, I feel like I have to play. And he's like, fucking, it's the goddamn, what is it called? Like it's the investment thing, whatever it's called. I can't think of what it's called, but there's a specific thing. It's like a gimmick that like makes people want to invest or feel like they have to. FOMO. That's what, fear of missing out. FOMO. And yeah, I feel like Fluff always has those things. I feel like because Fluff's coming from like I've been through some horrible, nightmare shit. Also, I should pull up my buttons. Beautiful. Lone Syndicate says, lol, also, if we were gonna do a book club, at least give a heads up so I could look at a PDF of the book or something. No, Lone Syndicate, I need to get better at explaining things, but it's not on you, it's on me. But yeah, and also, to me, I get the problem is I'm also not explaining the idea of the book. The idea of the book is called influence. But it's an old ass book. It's kind of like what every single marketing person suggests, because it kind of both talks about this like fucky scummy strategies that everyday ads will kind of try to facilitate to you, or salesmen will kind of facilitate to you, and a lot of it is just like finding out that there's like these base. It's the idea, at least, whether you believe it's a thing or not. I think there's just like again, the guy makes a point to be like, this is probability. This is not like guarantee. Like by me saying that this is how something is not guaranteed for it to be that way. But there's a higher likelihood that if you do these things, that people will get this thing. And then it has a whole subtext about, okay, so now that you know how like they're manipulating you, which in some ways is knowing how to manipulate people. It's also, let me tell you how you stop feeling like you need to act in such a way. Which in the previous chapter they talked about. What was it? It was, that's what it was. So basically, the idea is something will happen within sales. There's basically something called the contrast effect within sales. So what they'll do is they'll basically show you a very expensive TV, and then they'll show you a cheaper TV, and that TV that's cheaper, in comparison, will feel cheaper. So basically, same thing that you could do in an actual biological effect. You could take a hot bucket of water. You could take a cold bucket of water. You could put both of your hands in a bucket of water, both hot water, cold water, in separate hands. You could have a neutral bucket of water that feels like nothing. It just feels like normal water, not hot, not cold. But when you put your hand into the bucket in the middle that's neutral, you'll perceive the water in that bucket as two different things. You'll perceive it as hot, and then you'll also perceive it as cold. The thing that was in ice will perceive the water as warmer. The thing that was in a hot bucket of water will perceive the water as colder. And this is kind of the idea of basically it's the contrast principle. So if I show you something, and this is kind of a testament to social media to some extent, but forgive me if this comes across as crass or cruel or rude, but the example they gave in the book as well is if you were to see someone who is very, very pretty, So you go to a bar, you see a woman, she's gorgeous and very, very pretty. And then you see another woman followed up who is maybe a little bit below or medium average, just average. We'll say average, right in the middle. She's an average looking person when you've just seen a very, very pretty person. The likelihood that you'll perceive the person who's medium good looks is you'll perceive her as way, way lower in contrast to what you've just seen. And the vice versa is true. If all of you ever seen is negative, or not negative, if all of you have ever seen is below average looking people, and then you see a normal person, you'll perceive them as being way more pretty on the scale based on your experience. So what the reason, another thing that they talk about within the kind of like the sales idea, so that's what they'll do in sales, by the way. They'll be like, hey, look at this very expensive TV, and that's you'll notice that that's always how the flip, if you have any memory of books, like catalogs, like especially with like TVs, they'll always show you the ones that are the most expensive and then trickling down lower. And that's a strategy to kind of show you that, like, oh, in comparison this, but look, there's this big one down below it that says like 50% off. Look how much less money it is. That's also another strategy that they use, is that they'll basically mark up the cost of something and then nuke it down within a sale, and people will perceive it as like, oh, what a deal kind of idea. But it's the same price essentially. They've just made it fluctuate in such a way that you perceive it as less. It only really works if you have less knowledge about what you're buying. Like TVs, like, you know, if somebody was really into cars, they'd be like, this is a bullshit car. Like, this is not, like, even though it's this much money, it shouldn't be valued that much, and it should be valued even less than what it's currently being valued at. Like, if you have a knowledge base about that, then you'll be fine. But if you don't, you're kind of like, I guess that's good. It seems expensive, but it's not. I'll get it. Another one that is to that point is contrast principle. Oh, and then there's the conceding essentially. But so if someone is talking to you and trying to get you to do something, you're far more likely to agree to what they're getting you to do if they have made a concession for you. And this is building off of the baseline human information, which is, how do I put this? People who treat you a certain way are entitled to being treated that way. It's kind of like the overarching deeply human kind of natured thing. You know, if somebody comes up to you and they're like screaming at you and telling you and bullying you or something, there's a likelihood that you'll have an adverse response. You'll want to mimic that right back at them. It's also, if someone's being very sweet and kind, there's a higher probability that you'll be sweet and kind back to them. So if somebody is conceding to you, then there's a higher likelihood that that'll happen, that you'll want to concede to them and do them a favor as well, even though you owe them nothing, just some passive thing in the brain. An example they give in the book is this kid who goes up to this guy and says, hey, would you be willing to go to our Little League game this Wednesday? The tickets are $40 or $50, something like that. The guy says, thinks to himself in his head, I don't know, I have no interest in Little League. I also have no time. I would not have fun at the game. No. So sorry, kid, I'm not interested. And then the boy says, okay, that's okay. Well, would you be interested in buying a $2 chocolate bar? They're $2 a piece. And then he's like, sure, I'll do that. And basically he buys 2 chocolate bars. And the guy sits there with 2 chocolate bars in his hands, and he's like, I fucking hate chocolate. Like, why did I do that? Like, what? And then it breaks down the idea of conceding. Because this is also something that they do within what do you call it, sales, where they'll offer you something that's very high price, and then they'll be like, okay, but I can give you a discount on this. And it's because they're giving you that discount, even if what they're offering you isn't actually that good, there's something in you that's like, oh, they're working for me, or they're working with me. Despite, man, no, they're not working for you. They're trying to sell you shit. I'm sorry, but it's not actually how that it's happening, you know? It's one of those things where, like, fuck, I've had so many instances where I thought this guy was being so nice, sell me some shit. And you're like, well, no, man, it's like, it's a sales strategy that they teach just about everybody within sales. Apparently. I'm not sure if they continue to do that, because I feel like, at this point it's just, it's weird other metrics. But I don't know what that was a point to. How do you avoid that? So how do you avoid like these deep primal pulls to wanting to feel like you want to do something? One of the things in the book the guy tells you is basically that's the human prince. So first of all of these things are playing off of things that you kind of should do. So the idea that like somebody, like you shouldn't look at everybody like they're a snake oil salesman. Like some people genuinely want to do you a favor. They want to like give you a discount, except in real life, they actually just genuinely want to like that kid just wants to sell, get some money for his little league, get new baseball clubs. Like he's not trying to take advantage of you, but there are people who are. So how do you make the distinction? How do you turn off the tape that's constantly being subconsciously played, and how do you concede that the tape is going to be played sometimes, and that's okay? And of course the guy goes down to like, whoa, wait, our evolution was not stupid. It's just being mistriggered. So if you can rationalize what's happening, you'll be okay. So he gives the example of basically there's a guy phones this lady and says, hey, I'm from the fire department. Would you be willing to let one of our people come into your apartment and do a fire surveillance, essentially, see if there's any sort of flaws? She says, yes, that's fine. Okay, what time can you come by this? Okay, that's fine. Works for me. They go through with it. Anyways, so the fireman goes to the house and says, hey, okay, this could be a fire hazard. This could be a fire hazard. These are how many fires happens every kind of week. Just be careful. Honestly, I think your house is pretty fine. All you need to do is install a fire alarm, and you'll be right as rain. You'll be taken care of. All right, thank you so much for your time. And then also he gives her a free fire hydrant, etc., like a little tiny one, which is shocking to me because I guess this happened in New York City, but I think those things are expensive. Anyways, gives her a fire hydrant. She says, thank you very much. He's like, yep, if you need any help with anything, let us know at the fire department. We're civil servants. Thank you. And they go. This is a perfectly fine situation. Yeah, everything works out good. She conceded his time. She could, talk to the people. All that works. But say we change the ending a little bit. So the fireman comes into the fire inspector, comes into the house, says, yeah, these are the fire problems, this, that. It says, okay, so one of the things I'm going to suggest to you is get a fire hydrant, a fire alarm. So, and then he opens up a pamphlet full of fire hydrants that his company sells. And he said, I think you should get this one, and they're really overpriced. And this guy came to your house and he surveillanced your whole house. He was very kind and cordial. He gave that to you, so why not concede a little bit, and buy one of these very overpriced fire alarms? Also, you don't know any better. You don't know anything about fire alarms. They're not overpriced to you. What is the probability that you'll buy those things? And then you're like, wait, this guy's a fucking salesman, and he's not even an inspector. If he is, it's like a subtext. he's a salesman. He's coming to your house and saying, hey, can you buy this product for me? I'm going to give you reasons the whole time to buy this product for me. And the guy basically says, how do you survive that situation? How do you turn off this subconscious tape that's going to maybe be played? And he says, the baseline is always the same. So again, our biological evolutionary adaptation to tribal, societal kind of things, which is what a lot of this seems to be playing off of, is still the same. So it's that idea of people are deserving of the way, or how does he phrase? He phrases it in a really clever way, but you ought to treat people who treat you a certain way. I basically is the thing. Or you are more likely to treat someone in a way that they're treating you. So, just by the pure idea of you recognizing that, what does this person have to gain? Why have they done what they've done? You can now put them into a different category. So they're not this helpful stranger that's trying to help you not burn down your house. They're the salesman who has a lot to gain, and you have limited information about what they're offering you. So you can't make a good choice. And they're very much pushing you to make a choice. That seems innately not right. That seems flawed. So, and this is what the guy says. He's like, remember, anything that that you're experiencing, people are entitled to the same thing that they're giving you. So if they're trying to scam you and fuck you over, bleed this guy dry. So then you ask for all of the free shit you ask for all the free fire hydrants, you ask for all the certificate bullshit, you ask for all the referral weirdness, all these things. You get everything you can, say thank you kindly, and you close that motherfucking door. Okay? But it's basically the idea of if people treat you and try to scam you, you scam the fuck out of the scammer, essentially. And that's kind of how you can deviate from that mental loop, is by realizing that there is value to this kind of tape being played. The subconscious tape kind of keeps us engaged in like good kindness. So when someone wants to do you a favor, because that's what it kind of is, the kid like making concession. Some people will just make a concession to you because they like you, because they want to be friendly to you. And if you're always living your life like there's fucking snake oil salesmen everywhere, you'll just be a nightmare. So you need to concede and you need to accept kindness, but you need to understand where kindness is coming from, and by doing that, you'll break the tape. Essentially, you'll break the idea of like I don't need to do anything for you. Just because you're giving me a discount doesn't actually make you a good person. You have things to gain here, and I'm sure you're trained to do this to some extent. And granted, sometimes there are people who are getting a discount, like, but if you have that perception, you'll be like, yeah, I want a discount. Maybe you want to ask for a discount because you're like, excuse me, I know I'm paying for these. I would like to get a good product, and I want to get the best product for this. And of course, again, like not everyone's trying to like nickel and dime you as well. So it goes back to that kind of weird adage of like, again, you don't want to become like, there's an example in that chapter as well about like a woman selling like handing out flowers at her grandparents' open house. Or at her grandparents' like school fair or something weird. It was like some sort of thing where like she was a flower girl and she was handing out flowers. And this old man like went into this school and she handed him a flower, and the guy basically wouldn't accept. He'd be like, no, I'm not. I'm not taking it. And she was like, they're free. And apparently he bit back with like anger and was like, no, what does it cost? And it basically hints at the idea is like, is this old man who's like shitting on this little tiny girl who's offering him a flower and like saying like, you're trying to manipulate me, fuck you. Is he the bad guy? Yes, he's kind of a dickhead, but is he the dickhead, or whoever broke his ability to trust? A salesman, a car, or a house guy, whatever, house sale, something. Who fucked this guy so badly that he has such hatred for anyone trying to give him anything? That's also sad. So as much as it's like, yeah. Anyways, I keep talking too much. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anyone for us to go raid? Sorry, I could talk for hours about that apparently. Holy shit. I felt no depletion talking about those things. I'm sure you did. I apologize. Lone Ticket says, book club handle it. Lone Ticket says, I'm just listening, trying to piece things together so I can have a conversation, but I'm failing. But no, I'm sorry, Lone Ticket. It's my fault. I wish I could make it more. Again, this is a segment, maybe. So I'll get better at it. Hopefully you'll be patient with me too. But yes. Also, they talked about one more thing I thought was a little interesting. It's another example of the example of people basically giving you a free thing and then you feeling more incentivized on like giving. It's like a favor for a favor, but sometimes people will give you a favor and then ask for way too much in return. So like an example is the guy basically says, hey, we're doing like a research test. Hey, do you mind if I get up and I go get a Coca-Cola? And the other like whatever the researcher would be called for the civilian, the person who's being mentally decoded, I guess. Anyways, researcher gets up and says, hey, before we start the exam, the research, quote unquote research, can I go get a Coca-Cola? They say yes. He gets Coca-Cola, and he basically he comes back, and he at the end of this fake test, he asked them if they would be willing to buy raffle tickets. I think it was like 30% saying, or like what is it called, like 80% say no. So like said, no, I'm not doing that. They do another test. They say, okay, sir, we're gonna begin the test in a minute. Mind if I go get Coca-Cola? They say yes. He gets up, goes and basically gets 2 Coca-Colas, comes back and hands them one, and the guy say thank you. And then they begin the test. It's a fake test. At the end of the test, the researcher comes up and says, hey, do you want to buy raffle tickets? And it had a huge surge in people actually buying raffle tickets. So it's this notion of like, but also like what's implicit in that is that like a Coca-Cola is $2, but the raffle tickets for like 20 or 30. So it's this weird, like, people do you a favor and there's something in your base biology that says, I want to make things right. I want to like pay it forward again. And I don't know. I don't know why I was talking about something was relevant to that. Sorry. There's one more thing. There was one more thing, which was basically there was a group, a church organization, a religious organization, where basically they wore certain clothing and they danced a lot, and people just genuinely didn't like them. It's just count. They didn't like this religious organization. So what they ended up doing was they ended up like not getting any donations for the religion. So one of the things that they did, the strategies that they implemented on getting donations, was giving people a flower. So they would basically hand them a flower, and they would say, this is a gift. And then the people would oftentimes try to give the flower back, like, oh, I don't want it. I'm okay. It's appreciated, but no thing. And they're like, no, it's a gift. So they would not accept it. And the probability of people donating after being given like just a sweet gift, right, was incredibly high. Which I thought was interesting. But that's basically the thing, a gift for a gift. But oftentimes the gift is like, hey, here's a $30 cent rose, and can you donate $10 to my organization? And it's just a cost-benefit analysis thing. And again, the way you free yourself from that is realizing this is not a gift. This is a tactic to get me to spend things. And sometimes you'll have to accept that there might be an ulterior motive, but do you have anything to lose? Like, just take the rose and say, thanks for the rose, and fuck off. Like, if you know that this is potentially a scam or a leverage point to get you to act, just take the thing and leave. You don't have to pay it back. It's their fault for offering, almost, But granted, if this is just in the realm of, like, clearly when you can deduce that there's shittery afoot, where someone's trying to get you to they call it, like, an action response. So anything that I can do that can higher leverage your ability to do what I want, to have an action response, something like that. Hey, we got something to raid. Yes. Fluff says, I would call it a nightmare. I wouldn't call it a nightmare. Oh no, I was just being hyperbolic. But I was around $200 for each Oasis event they had once a year, and it led into an annual world championship. However, it did help temper my expectations and tone down my investment into a free-to-play game going for. Yeah, it makes like you only need to get. Sometimes people need to get that lesson constantly. Now people are like, I'll never do this again. I think I've made that mistake a couple times. I hope I don't have to make it anymore. Fluff says, and that realization that when it ceases being fun and when it ceases being fun and feels like a job or a chore, expect that you're the one paying for it, not getting paid. Yeah, yes. Lone Singlet says they are trying to scam you, and you fell for it. Yeah, well, there's definitely those kinds of things. Lone Singlet says, I have 2 suggestions. We have Angelica. Actually, have we ever raided Angelica? These look like new people. I'm excited to go raid somebody that we haven't raided before. Hopefully they're sweet and kind. Ooh. Oh, I didn't stop my playback the whole time. Oh, golly. On my chest. Raid. Paste. I clicked Angelica. She's playing Lost Ark. And have we raided? No, I don't think we have raided her. She's a VTuber. Fox person? Yes. Boys, we're about to end it. Anything you want to say to me? Wait, or there's Amish. Wait, let's go see Amish. Let's see what she's got. 9 viewers. I just opened up my. No, damn it. There we go. Boop. Cancel that real quick. I just want to see. We'll do this. Amish playing she's playing Valorant, but I do think the whole VTuber thing, you guys might have a higher probability of liking that, but I would love to raid her at some point. Thank you, Lone Syndicate. Lone Syndicate says we have to raid both of them before, but it's been a while. I was about to say it seems like a long while. It's been a hot minute. With granted, I'm also terrible with names. You guys know this, so yeah. Also, yeah, I don't think there's anyone we're doing that with. Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm off to go make a thumbnail for you, so today's video will not be super duper quick. Also, you guys are hearing like a KFC ad or something. Stop it. Stop playing. But yeah, what do you call it? I'm off to go edit a thumbnail for you and then finish the Krieg video, hopefully. Fingers crossed that I can do that. I want to try to edit it, upload it tomorrow, but okay, yeah. I'm not sure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hearing me out. Also, I really do appreciate, like if I could do a full stop, I really do appreciate you guys letting me talk your ear off about the books. I really know they're not for everybody, but again, it does like drastically help my brain kind of like rationalize the ideas in a way. If I can, even if you don't believe them or don't even think they have merit, that's fine. But to me, it helps when you're trying to. The fact that I do have to try to explain it does help me feel like I can understand it or commit it to memory more. But yes. Ladies and gentlemen, please go tell this person that they're nothing but lovely, and there will be a video coming out shortly, but it'll be a little bit later because I need to edit a thumbnail for it still. But thank you kindly for your time. Hopefully enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you so much for spending some time with me. Thank you guys, and goodbye. And I forgot we have to like a couple seconds before raid happens. It's like yeah, it like queues up the chat. It's like get ready to go. Uh-oh, why can't I click? There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, goodbye.